Hi, Sir Jopo. Good morning po. Parang naka-unmute ka, sir. Hindi kita marinig. Ay, naka-mute ka po.
Oh, sorry. Kumusta po?
Ito po, mabuti, sir. Kayo po, kumusta po? Good to
Ito
see
po,
you, sir.
kadarating ko lang actually from Manila yesterday to arrange.
Okay po.
So,
Opo.
kumusta po dyan sa Batangas?
Ito po, medyo kulimlim. Pero so far naman po ay okay naman. Medyo hindi ko po alam bakit kulimlim ngayon. Kahapon po ay sobrang init. Sir, nasa Baguio kayo ngayon?
Opo, you would
Okay.
expect Baguio to be cold, to be cool at least.
Apa.
Mainit na rin.
Opo, pero sir, close pa rin ang Baguio, correct? It's still not accepting it.
You need an antigen test to enter.
Alright.
So nung bumaba ako ng Manila, hindi ako nangailangan ng antigen sa pagpasok ng Manila. Pero pagbalik ko sa aking hometown,
you have to, yes.
Ng antigen.
Correct. Opo.
And I had to return within 72 hours.
So napaka-strict po pala ng no? Samantalang ang NCR po, open arms.
Oo. May ZAR kasi dito, ma'am. May azar.
Okay. Oo nga pala. Nandyan nga pala siya naka-based. Oo. Kayo, sir, ha?
Ma'am, can I test my sharing kung pwede lang?
Sige po. Okay po. Co-host na po kayo. Identified na po kayo as co-host. So,
pero matitigil po yung sharing ni Sir Ben yata.
Okay lang po. No problem. Ronel? Ronel, can you hear me? Teka muna, sir. Parang, let me just see kung ano. Ronel, can you unshare first para matest lang ni Sir Jopo yung kanyang presentation? Okay.
Okay po. So, test natin po yung ano.
Sige po.
Okay po. Can you see it?
Yes, sir. Kaya lang siguro, sir, i-test natin yung full screen para po Ayan. Yes. Yes po.
Yes, ma'am. Okay po, ma'am. I will stop sharing na para maka-music tayo kay
Sige po. Sir, later po i-send niyo po sa akin pala, nakalimutan ko pong i-ask ang inyong address para po meron po kaming later po, mamaya po siguro after we can talk. Opo. Sige po.
Communicate through email naman po eh.
Yes, regularly. Sir, salamat ng marami. We look forward po talaga to this event. So,
thank you rin po.
Nilagay po natin, sir, kasi ay 9 o'clock po talaga ang start ng ating program. So, at least ay makapasok muna po ang lahat bago tayo po makapag-start. Ano po?
Mag-mute at stop video muna ako, ma'am Narod,
yes po.
Para makapagkape muna.
Sure, sir. Salamat po. Thank you po. Thank you po. Ronel, I think we can, in 5 minutes time, we can run already our video again, right? Okay.
Ma'am Dairen, good morning. Sir Tayobong po. Dairen, good morning.
Sabi, update nila tayo.
The World Health Organization declares the novel coronavirus a
now
public
under a
health
state of
emergency
true
of international
emergency due to
concern.
COVID-19.
On March 12, Duterte announces Metro Manila will be placed on lockdown.
Gumising ako isang umaga na nagbago na ang lahat. Walang mahigpit na mga yakap. Malayo ang mga agwat. Binabalot ng takot. Sa isang kalabang hindi nakikita. Parang bangungot. Sana panaginip na lang na pwedeng gumising pero hindi. Ito ang katotohanan. Ito na ang totoo. Hindi normal pero ito na ang realidad. Hindi ko sasabing hindi nakakatakot. Hindi ko rin sasabing hindi nakakapagod. Dahil ang totoo ay takot na takot ako. Ang totoo ay pagod na ako. Pero hindi maaaring sumuko. Hindi susuko. Pwedeng mapagod at magpahinga. Pero pagkatapos nito'y laban lang ulit. Parating lalaban. Para sa mga minamahal. Para sa bayan. Para sa bukas na inaasahang magiging maayos na.
Batangas State University ARASOF-Nasugbu Bachelor of Arts in Communication, Communication Art Society presents to you a timely and purposive online seminar dedicated for our frontliners. With the theme, Helping Heroes in Times of Pandemic, a webinar series on communicating effectively during health crisis. Coming soon on Zoom and Facebook Live.
naman ang nadagdag na bilang sa COVID-19 cases ngayong araw. Sa
Philippine
Metro
President
Manila,
Rodrigo Duterte has declared a lockdown of the capital, Metro Manila.
Bawal lumabas ng bahay ang mga residente maliban sa frontliners tulad ng health workers, mga
Batangas State University ARASOF-Nasugbu Bachelor of Arts in Communication, Communication Art Society presents to you a timely and purposive online seminar dedicated for our frontliners. With the theme, Helping Heroes in Times of Pandemic, a webinar series on communicating effectively during health crisis. Coming soon on Zoom and Facebook Live.
Organization declares the novel coronavirus a public health emergency of international concern.
COVID-19.
On March 12, Duterte announces Metro Manila be placed on lockdown.
Gumising ako isang umaga na nagbago na ang lahat. Walang mahigpit na mga yakap. Malayo ang mga agwat. Binabalot ng takot. Sa isang kalabang hindi nakikita. Parang bangungot. Sana panaginip na lang na pwedeng gumising pero hindi. Ito ang katotohanan. Ito na ang totoo. Hindi normal pero ito na ang realidad. Hindi ko sasabing hindi nakakatakot. Hindi ko rin sasabing hindi nakakapagod. Dahil ang totoo ay takot na takot ako. Ang totoo ay pagod na ako. Pero hindi maaaring sumuko. Hindi susuko. Pwedeng mapagod at magpahinga. Pero pagkatapos nito'y laban lang ulit. Parating lalaban. Para sa mga minamahal. Para sa bayan. Para sa bukas na inaasahang magiging maayos na.
Record high na naman ang nadagdag na bilang sa COVID-19 cases ngayong araw. Sa
Philippine
Metro
President
Manila,
Rodrigo Duterte has declared a lockdown of the capital Metro Manila.
Bawal lumabas ng bahay ang mga residente maliban sa frontliners tulad ng health workers, mga
Batangas State University ARASOF-Nasugbu Bachelor of Arts in Communication, Communication Art Society presents to you a timely and purposive online seminar dedicated for our frontliners. With the theme, Helping Heroes in Times of Pandemic, a webinar series on communicating effectively during health crisis. Coming soon on Zoom and Facebook Live. Hello, good morning everyone and welcome po sa ating webinar. Partner, nandiyan ka ba? Hello partner. Good morning sa iyo.
Good morning.
Good morning po sa lahat na nandito po sa ating Zoom and welcome po sa ating webinar. Partner, kamusta ka naman dyan? Hindi kita makita partner.
Hello, nagkakaproblema dito sa background. Medyo.
Ayan partner, parang kinakain ka ng langit. Partner, ikaw, tatanungin kita. Dahil medyo matagal na tong quarantine natin, halos isang taon na, no? Halos isang taon. Hindi, kung susumahin natin isang taon na. Kamusta ba ang naging isang taong quarantine mo, partner?
Medyo mahirap kasi di ba unlike dati face-to-face tayo nagkaklase, ngayon online class. So, hindi ganun kaganda yung interaction kasi hindi kagaya ng face-to-face. Parang hindi lang siya one-way communication unlike ngayon na online class. Hindi as in ganun ka-interactive yung mga students siguro dahil sa mga barriers na meron sila sa kanilang tahanan, wala silang internet. And in that way, nagkakaroon ng mga hindi maayos na interaction between the prof and the student. Parang nagkakaroon din ng limitations pagdating sa knowledge na nag-gain nila ngayong quarantine. Pero sa nakikita ko naman, nagagawa naman nila ng paraan. So, okay.
Ayun nga partner, parang hanggang ngayon nag-a-adapt pa din tayo sa mga changes na nangyayari sa atin from time to time. Kasi hindi naman natin alam hanggang kailan ba to, di ba? Kaya ang kailangan lang natin is maging safe at lagi lang sundin yung mga health protocols na binibigay sa atin. Siyempre, paglalabas, wag po nating kakalimutang mag-mask at lagi po tayo magdadala ng alcohol. Yun lang naman po yun Kailangan po nating magtulong-tulong para po matapos na tong crisis na hinaharap natin. Agree ka ba, partner?
Tama.
Pero alam mo sa akin, para sa akin, hindi naman siguro puro negative itong nangyaring quarantine. Kasi siguro siguro ito yung way ni God para tayo is makasama natin yung family natin ng matagal. Siguro parang napapansin ni God parang lagi tayo lumalayo, ganun, may trabaho, busy sa negosyo, sa school. Parang kasi itong quarantine na nagturo sa atin na mahalaga pa rin yung pagkakaroon ng time natin sa family natin. At kahit nga naman naka-quarantine tayo, nagagawa pa rin naman natin yung mga bagay na hindi na nagagawa natin nung wala pa quarantine. Gaya ng nagkaroon ng online class, hindi naman huminto yung ating edukasyon, di ba, partner? Kaya parang sa atin is
may bright side.
Partner. Parang sinusubok lang talaga tayo ng panahon. Pero yun nga partner, kailangan pa rin natin mag-ingat kasi sa ngayon halos parang dumadami pa rin yung kaso. Madami ang naghihirap at saka madami yung nawawalan ng trabaho dahil dito sa quarantine na nangyayari. Pero sana naman, hopefully, matapos na talaga to para bumalik na tayo sa kanya-kanya nating buhay, partner.
Pero ikaw ba, ano ba masasabi mo lalo na pagdating sa side ng mga frontliner? Ano yung parang gusto mong i-open ngayon since ang pinaka-topic or yung pinaka-feature ng webinar natin is para sa mga frontliner?
Yes, partner, yun na nga At para po ito sa mga frontliner natin dyan, sa mga magigiting na frontliner. Hello po sa inyo, isang magandang umaga po. Ayan po. Alam mo partner sa akin, sila ang mga makabagong bayani. Kasi hindi sila tumitigil para paglingkuran tayo, para nilalabanan nila yung kalaban na hindi naman nila nakikita. Di ba partner? Parang hindi nila alam pag uwi ba nila
may dala na sila.
Meron din sila, ganun. Hindi sila siguro may takot sa kanila. Oo, may takot sa kanila. Pero alam mo, nandun yung parang gusto nilang matapos. Gusto nilang lahat tayo ay tulungan. Ikaw, partner, ano ba masasabi mo sa mga frontliner natin na nandyan?
Yun. Parang bihira sa tao yung magkaroon ng ganong will para lang sa bayan. And then, ipinagpapalit nila yung oras nila in a way na para magkaroon tayo ng safety and ng assurance na hindi tayo nag-iisa sa paglaban sa COVID, wherein makikita naman natin yung mga frontliners na kahit pagod na sila or wala silang magandang tinutulugan or wala silang ganun kalaking sahod na nakukuha, is nandun pa rin yung puso nila na buong-buo nilang ibinibigay sa serbisyong para mapaglingkuran tayo sa serbisyo na kung saan doon sila sumumpa, parang ganun. Ayun yung masasabi ko. And in that way, nagkakaroon tayo ng malaking na idea or patunay na hindi talaga masasabi na kung walang frontliner is marahil marami na sa atin yung mga biktima na ng COVID-19.
Ayun nga, partner, kaya sobrang pasasalamat natin sa mga frontliner. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. And with that, let's start na, partner.
Okay na. Okay, medyo kinakain ako ng liwanag.
Ayan, partner. A great morning to everyone. To the Dean of College of Arts and Sciences, Dr. Maria Luisa Valdez, to Assistant Professor Rosalie R. Rojales, Head of Extension Services.
To our advisor, Professor Dairen P. De Luna, to our beloved and brave guest for today.
And of course, a warmest welcome to our honorable guest speaker for today, Mr. Joseph Jopo Andaya. I am Adrian Arroyo.
And I am Jordan Joy Cavalli. And today, we are your masters of ceremony for today's event.
Helping Heroes in Times of Pandemic.
A webinar series on communicating effectively during health crisis.
That's right, partner. But before everything else, we are reminding everyone to turn off their microphones as we start our event with a prayer and to be followed by the singing of our national anthem. Thank you.
Heavenly Father, Creator of all things, we humble ourselves before you and submit to your most holy will, especially during these trying times. We thank you for the gift of life, family, and friends. We ask pardon for our shortcomings and plead for more time to make amends.
We pray for the cure of the sick and an end to this virus. Most especially, we pray for the health workers, the doctors, nurses, and all those working in the hospitals who are putting their lives on the line for our sake.
We thank you for their heroic service, for their sacrifice to risk their lives for others, for their selflessness to take care of people as if they're a family of their own, and for their care and compassion to attend to the needs of patients at all costs. Protect them from the virus and embrace them with your love so that they will not feel afraid and alone as they carry out their duties.
We also ask for the mantle of your protection for the families of our health workers who have made the unselfish sacrifice of lending to us the pride of their families and most beloved ones.
And when this is over, we earnestly pray that you shower upon them all the blessings that they have bestowed on many. Let their works continue to prosper, their goodness multiplies, and the happiness and joy that they've brought to patients return to them 100-fold.
We ask this through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang mag-ibig, pero sa sinakalan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyag ka ng magiting, sa manlulupin, di ka pasisingin, sa nagagang tutok sa simoy at sa langit mo pagaw, ay hinatang tula, kawin sa pagkayang minamahal. Ang isang lang matawad mo'y tagumpay na nag-iindig, makituwin at araw niya kailan ang may magdidinig. Lumang ang araw ng walhagit pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Ang inigaya na pagkay mga api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
And now, to officially start our program, may I call on Dr. Maria Luisa Valdez, the Dean of College of Arts and Sciences, for the opening remarks.
Pleasant morning to our Chancellor, Dr. Enrico M. Lalagit, to the other university officials, to our esteemed resource speaker who will be introduced later. Likewise, to our BAC Program Chairperson, Assistant Professor Dyrene Ganuna, the officers and members of the Communication Arts Society, to the head of the Extension Service Office, Assistant Professor Rosalie Roales, to the College Extension Coordinator, Ms. Lerma de la Vega, to the CAS faculty members and staff, and most especially to the medical and non-medical frontliners who are here with us today, isa pong mapagpalang umaga sa ating lahat. I'm sure you've heard about what's transpiring in India nowadays. The World Health Organization's chief, Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus, said in the news last week that India's COVID-19 surge is beyond heartbreaking, and they are in a rush to help them address the situation. It is noteworthy to mention that as India grapples with COVID-19, a widely prevalent belief is that the crisis is purely driven by the disease. However, the truth, according to the Hindu e-paper's editorial, is that confused and often disempowering communication has contributed equally to their present predicament. On a sad note, the news underscored that their country has no communication strategy, no crisis communication strategy rather, and their government has not created even a single central repository of public information and communication that speaks credibly, directly, and continuously to the people. As a result, there was and remains confusion on the transmission of data and facts, on measures on how to protect themselves, and most importantly, on the support their government is going to offer. Relative to this, understanding the role of communication in preventing and managing COVID-19 is imperative and must not be taken for granted. Today, we join the other Red Spartans in honoring the best of human kindness and concern displayed by our real-life heroes, our frontliners, who are fueled nothing more than coffee or tea, donated food packs, and sheer determination to fight the disease in their own way. Thus, this activity on helping heroes in times of pandemic, a webinar series on communicating effectively during health crisis, was organized by the Communication Arts Society as one of the College of Arts and Sciences Extension Services, which aims to foster communication strategies among the medical and non-medical frontliners of Nasugbu and nearby municipalities during this logistical nightmare, to put it mildly. On this note, I'd like to thank Ma'am Dyrene, Sir Jonas, Sir RM, Ma'am Rosalie, Ma'am Lerma, and the officers of the Communication Arts Society for braving the task of organizing this activity. Your efforts are well noted and highly appreciated. Again, welcome and God bless us all.
Thank you very much, Dean Valdez, for enlightening us. And now, to introduce our speaker, may we call on our Assistant Professor Dairenti De Luna, Advisor of Communication Arts Society, and the Program Chair of Bachelor of Arts in Communication.
Thank you, Adrian, and thank you, Jerlyn. Isang magandang umaga at ligtas na umaga po para sa ating lahat. It is my privilege today to introduce to you all our guest speaker. He actually hailed from the north. So medyo dulo-dulo po tayo. Tayo nasa south. Ang ating pong speaker ay manggagaling sa north. Okay, so our speaker currently holds the title of Distinguished Professor. That is from April 3, 2019 to April 2, 2022 with the Shandong Yingkai University of Jinan City in Shandong province of China. He graduated with a degree of Bachelor of Arts in Bachelor of Arts in Social Sciences at the Ateneo de Manila University, where he also pursued his master's degree in sociology. He has earned academic units in Master of Arts in Economics and Master of Arts in Public Management at the St. Louis University in Baguio City. He's also active in the cooperative movement, having been the board secretary of the Baguio Benguet Community Credit Cooperative, or BBCCC, from 2008 to 2017. He was actually the general manager from 2017 to 2018 and the chief executive officer of the said credit cooperative from 2012 to 2016. After his retirement in 2016 from St. Louis University, Baguio City, where he had taught for 30 years and where he had been head of the Department of Social Sciences from 2001 to 2004. Mr. Andaya has since been an accredited trainer and resource speaker of the Humanitarian Leadership Academy, or PAC, the Center for Humanitarian Learning and Innovation, or CHLI, the Cooperative Development Authority, CDA, the Institute of Leaders in Educational Advancement and Education, ILEAD, and the BBCCC Foundation's Institute for Cooperative Skills Development and Education. Our guest speaker is a seasoned researcher, lecturer, trainer, and seminar resource person on various fields of sociology, anthropology, economics, political science, disaster risk reduction and management, business continuity planning, and of course, the last but not the least, cooperative theory and practice. Ladies and gentlemen, I think I don't have to prolong this because his resume actually is more than 3 pages or 4 pages, if I'm not mistaken. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all welcome Mr. Joseph Porfirio Jopo L. Andaya.
Thank you very much, Professor Dairen. First of all, I would like to congratulate the students, the professors, the administrative officials of Batangas State University for organizing this very commendable webinar series dedicated to our frontliners. No? Napaka-timely and napaka-relevant itong mga ganitong klaseng seminars ngayon bilang isang tulong at pagkilala sa ating mga frontliners, medical man o non-medical. Shall we start? Ma'am Direct? Okay, so...
Go ahead, sir. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Greetings po pala sa maraming salamat sa kay Dean Maria Luisa Valdez. Good morning po, ma'am. Hello po at hello po sa mga ibang officials.
Morning po.
Officials ng BSU. Hi, ma'am. Ayun. Sinasabi namin ni Ma'am Dairen kanina na yung klima dito sa Baguio, i-expect nyo sigurong malamig, pero ngayon napakainit na rin. No? So baka mas malamig pa dyan sa bandang Tagaytay ngayon, malapit sa inyo, no? Kaysa dito sa Baguio. So it's very, very hot right now here. At any rate, before I begin, can we have a brief moment of silence for our frontliners who have fallen in the line of duty, yung mga nagsakripisyo ng kanilang buhay para sa ating buhay. So, a moment of silence for them. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's start. May I share my screen now? No? So, ito siya, no? Actually, the topic is crisis communications. Isang munting topic doon sa kabuuan ng continuity planning concepts. At ito ay alay natin ngayon sa ating mga medical and non-medical frontliners. No? So I will focus on crisis communications, and that will mean that I will be launching myself from the point of view of a group or an organization, a company, or any other entity that experiences a crisis within itself, no, within its institution. And well, maraming mga institutions ngayon ang ganito, no? Bukod sa napapasailalim sila sa isang pandemya, sa isang konteksto ng pandemya, sila mismo ay nakakaranas, no? They have experienced also internal crisis, not only brought about by the pandemic, but by other contributory circumstances as well, no? So this is where I will be coming from, no? From the point of view of organizations and institutions that experience a crisis and attempt to convey certain messages to their stakeholders in order to allay them of their fears and apprehensions regarding the continuation of their operations. So ayun, this will be how the talk will go. Now we will start with a discussion of the new normal. We will touch on disasters, the new normal, and the very definition of crisis. And then we plunge right ahead to crisis communications, the basics and the fundamentals. And then as a matter of particular interest maybe to our young listeners out there, no? The role of social media in crisis communications. Okay? So, ganito yung magiging takbo ng ating talk. No? Okay, so let's start with something that could happen when a crisis occurs. No? When something bad happens, you have three choices, no? In response to this crisis, to this something bad that happens. No? First, you can let it destroy you, no? You can plunge into despair, you can let it overwhelm you, no? And you can let it wash over you and destroy your personality, your outlook, your life, no? Or you can let it strengthen you, no? You can use it to build yourself up, no? You can use it to help others also pick themselves up, no? And through this, you can let it define you. You can let it define the boundaries of who you are, no? And you can let other people see you as strengthened, as renewed, and as a new person or as a new organization. No? It depends on us, no? How we respond to this crisis, no? Many of us have, been driven to despair. Yet more than many have let these challenges strengthen themselves and build themselves up to be new people, to be new organizations. No? Okay, which is quite remarkable, no? Since before the pandemic started, way back, yung tagal ng pandemic, ang isip natin ngayon, yung pre-pandemic, way back, di ba? Parang napakatagal na, although Adrian mentioned a while ago. Hello pala Adrian and Jerlyn. No? I forgot to acknowledge you a while ago. Hi. No? And thanks for the very, very interesting and very motivating opening a while ago. No? So, hello. So sabi ni...
Good morning po.
Good morning Adrian. Sabi ni Adrian kanina, no? Isang taon na itong pandemya. Pero Pero sa isang perspektiba, parang higit sa isang taon, di ba? Yung ating time perspective, ang isip natin yung pandemya, mahigit isang taon. Pero actually, kung titignan mo, March lang, December, yung unang mga cases, no? And then January yung napangalanan, no? Yung bagong virus, no? February, nung talagang kumalat na siya sa buong mundo, at March, nung nagsimula tayong mag-lockdown. So kung tutuusin, isang taon at isang quarter ng isang taon pa lang, no? Pero pag iniisip natin yung pre-pandemic times, ang perspective natin way back, no? Parang napakatagal na noon yung pre-pandemic, no? January 25, 2020 is largely pre-pandemic, no? And look at the ability of Guillermo Luz, no? Bill Luz was my classmate in college in the Ateneo, no? And now he is the Chief Resilience Officer of the Philippine Disaster Resilience Foundation, PDRF, no, the top organization in the Philippines today that handles disaster response, no. So Bill Luz said way back in January 25, 2020, that disasters are our new normal, no. New normal. Iba sa new normal na iniisip natin ngayon, di ba? Pero beginning ng 2020, may new normal na si Bill Luz, no? And you can blame him. You can blame him, no? In 2019, talagang tuloy-tuloy yung mga disasters na pumasok sa ating bansa, no? Pero sabi niya new normal. Bakit? Kasi the Philippines is part of the so-called Pacific Ring of Fire, no? I'm familiar. I guess you're familiar with that, no? The Pacific Ring of Fire is where the tectonic plates actually converge in the longest fissure that circles the entire Pacific region, no? It is home to around 450 volcanoes, and 300 of these volcanoes are in the Philippines, no? Imagine, no? Paano hindi magiging normal ang volcanic disturbances dito sa atin? Meron tayong 300 volcanoes, although only 22 of them are active. 5 of them are highly active, and one of them is right there beside you, no? Kapitbahay nyo, no? Si Taal. And then we have another in Albay, no? Mount Mayon. We have also Canlaon in Negros Occidental, Bulusan in Sorsogon, and Hibuk-Hibuk in Camiguin, no? So these are the 5 highly active volcanoes, and as of today, 4 of them are under very careful watch by FIVOX, no? For abnormal activities daw. So this means that earthquakes will be common, no? In our country, no? We experience around 29 earthquakes a day, no? Yesterday, May 6, 2021, we had 35 earthquakes. Believe it or not, no? Sa buong araw kahapon, 35 earthquakes. 3 ang medyo yumanig sa atin, no? Yung 4.6 sa Catanduanes, yung 5.1 sa del Sur, at yung
tinawag na ako nung sana ko nung
merong hindi naka-mute. At 4.1 sa Davao Occidental, no? Kaninang umaga at 4:07 AM, niyanig na naman ng isang 4.1 tremor ang Sorsogon, no? So, normal na magkaroon tayo ng mga earthquakes dito, no? Mga bagyo, normal din, no? Normal din. We are in the middle of the typhoon belt. And we are in the area where most of the Cat 5 typhoons are born, no? So, ayun, we have an average of around 26, some say 29 typhoons that enter the Philippine area of responsibility par in a single year. Of these 26 to 29 typhoons on the average, no? Napaka-weird, meron tayong dalawang figure na average, no? Pero yung average ng iba kasi 26, yung average ng iba 29. Of these, 9 make landfall, no? 9 make landfall. At noong 2020, we had some fairly strong typhoons, no? That hit land. We have Quinta, a Category 3 typhoon, We have Rolly, a Category 5 typhoon, no? And we had Ulysses, no? A Category 4 typhoon. So, asahan natin na darating na naman, no? Okay? Ang maraming typhoon. So, medyo maswerte tayo ngayon kasi Mayo na, wala pang medyo malakas na typhoon na tumatama. Pero remember last year, nung dumating sino ba, si Ambo ba ang dumating last year? Mayo, no? Kalagitnaan na ng taon, May, nung dumating isang malakas, yung first na malakas na bagyo sa Pilipinas, no? Okay. At any rate, no, we cannot blame Bill Luz for describing our situation as the new normal way back 2020 January, no? Hindi pa tumatama ang COVID, no? Okay. Yung disaster na sinasabi niya ng new normal, no? Ano ba talaga ibig sabihin ng disaster, no? It comes from two Latin words, di ba? Dis, which means without, and astra, which means a star. So disaster or disastra means without a star, no? It is a misfortune in the absence of a guiding light, no? By the way, can I ask permission for you to turn off my video? Kasi para ma-maximize natin yung bandwidth ko, no? So, okay lang ba?
Sir, of course po. Sige po.
By the way, nakita nyo na yung mukha ko at alam nyo na kung ano yung tsura ko, no? The face behind the voice, kumbaga. No?
Sure po, sure po.
Ayun. Okay, so I will turn off para makakonserve ako ng bandwidth. So, disaster means a misfortune in the absence of a guiding light. So rather poetic, no? And this is what it looks like in formal definitions, no? It is a sudden unplanned catastrophic event causing unacceptable damage or loss, no? An event that compromises an organization's ability to provide critical functions, processes, or services for some unacceptable period of time, no? That's from the Business Continuity Institute and the Disaster Recovery Journal, no? From our own law, RA 10121, a serious disruption of the functioning of a community or society involving widespread human, material, economic, or environmental losses and impacts, which exceeds the ability, and this is important, no? Which exceeds the ability of the affected community or society to cope using its own resources. So if these are the definitions of disaster, then that means that disasters are avoidable. If we increase our capacities, we can avoid disasters. Disaster, in other words, a disaster does not depend on the incident or the event. Meron ka mang isang earthquake na magnitude 8, meron ka mang isang typhoon na category 5, gaano man kalakas yung bagyo, gaano man katindi yung pandemic, gaano man kalakas yung pagyanig, no? Kung kaya nating tugunan, walang disaster. No? Nangyayari lang yung disaster kapag yung organisasyon o yung tao walang sapat na preparasyon o kakayahan para tugunan yung event. No? So ang ginagawa natin ngayon, pinapalakas natin yung ating kapasidad, no? Para mapababa natin yung ating vulnerabilities, no? Yung ating exposure sa isang event. So that if we increase our capacities, if we lower our vulnerabilities, no matter how tindi the event is, no, kaya nating tugunan yan. Walang disaster na mangyayari. Okay? Yung COVID, no? Ganito siya ngayon, no? As of May 6, 2021, as per Worldometer, mahigit 156 million na ang total global cases, no? Mahigit 1 million sa Pilipinas, no? Mahigit 3.2 million na ang namamatay worldwide. Sa Pilipinas, 17,991, no? New cases natin kahapon was the 10th largest cases. The 10th largest figure in the globe, no, worldwide. And our new deaths yesterday, no, 191 ba? No? Is the 11th globally speaking. No? So matindi, no? at talagang hindi pa natin alam kung meron tayong trend na pababa siya, no? Because even if on certain days medyo bumababa tayo, as the 7-day running average na sinasabi nila ay medyo hindi pa nagbabago, no? Meron tayong new normal ngayon na iba sa new normal ni Bill Luz, no? Noong 2020, just 1 year ago. Our new normal today is characterized by of compensation and benefits, no? The decimation of our savings, the end of grace periods on rent and bills, increase in unemployment, although marami sa atin ngayon ang nagre-recover by migrating online, no? Yung mga nawalan ng trabaho, they have managed to pick themselves up by establishing online sales systems, no, or sales ventures, no? Nag-open na yung ating mga lugar na pinagtatrabahuhan, pero takot na takot pa rin tayong mag-commute, no? So, bahagi yan ng new normal, no? Checkpoints and choke points, bahagi ng new normal. Minimum health protocols, no, as a way of life, no? Dito sa Baguio, minimum health protocols start with number 1, keeping yourself healthy, no? It doesn't start with face masks or face shields and alcohol, no? It starts with basic health for yourself, no? Kasi hindi kahit mag-face mask ka, mag-face shield ka, mag-alcohol ka, kung may sakit kang lalabas, sinisipon ka, inuubo, no? Wala rin, no? So, number 1 rule in minimum health protocols, keep yourself healthy. Then face masks, face shields, alcohol, no? Then social distancing, which I prefer to call physical distancing, no? We shall see the difference later on between a social distance and a physical distance. I would rather use the term physical distancing to describe the protocol that we observe nowadays, no? So, ang problema kasi pag sinasabi nating social distancing, alam natin na kahit may mga malalayo sa atin physically, close pa rin tayo socially, no? So, social distancing is almost impossible nowadays, what with technology, no, dominating our lives. So we can physically distance, but we may not be able to social distance. And that's why I prefer to use the term physical distancing, no? Hot desking is now replaced by regimented cubicles and screens. I remember the hot desks in Pan Pacific University, where I worked for a brief period from 2019 to 2020, no? All the faculty members, all people were working in a kind of a hub, no? So, nandun kami sa isang malaking kwarto, common tables, nandun na yung saksakan ng internet, nandun na yung saksakan ng power, no? And we were conversing, discussing, parang hub talaga ng isang workplace, no? Now, that has changed, no? That has changed. Yung hot desks na yan, nalagyan na ng mga cubicles, screens, no, dividers, etc. And that is the new normal now, no? And of course, the macroeconomic picture will remain bleak, no? And hopefully babago ito, pero ito pa rin yung ating hinaharap ngayon, no? All this while the coronavirus pandemic continues to spread. And huwag natin kalilimutan, no? Yung discussion natin kanina, other hazards wait to strike at the sidelines, no? Ang problema natin ngayon, yung tinatawag nating hazard na pandemic plus, no? Ano yung ibig sabihin ng pandemic plus? Pandemic plus another hazard na darating, no? Last year we experienced pandemic plus typhoon, no? In Davao in the south, no, they experienced pandemic plus earthquake, no? So, yan yung mga bagong hazards ngayon na kinumplika ng coronavirus, no? Hindi lang simpleng earthquake ngayon, although earthquake is not so simple, no? Hindi lang simpleng typhoon ngayon, although category 5 typhoons are not so simple, no? Ang problema ngayon, paano pag nag-typhoon na may COVID? At hindi yan yung worst, no? Paano pag nag-typhoon o nag-earthquake o nag-volcanic eruption sa isang panahon na nagsusurge ang COVID, no? COVID is surging, tapos biglang mag-hit. Yan ang tinatawag nating worst case scenario ng isang pandemic plus na hazard, no? So yan ang magiging mga problema natin sa mga susunod na taon. No? The situation, therefore, the new normal situation is a crisis. New normal is a crisis situation. No? And how do disaster references define crisis? It's a critical event, which, if not handled in an appropriate manner, may dramatically impact an organization's profitability, reputation, or ability to operate. That's by the Business Continuity Institute and the Disaster Recovery Journal. So where does crisis communications come in these situations? No? Crisis communications encompass the effective and managed communication about an event or occurrence that can impact people and entities. It is a strategic approach to corresponding with people and organization during a disruptive event. No? Okay, so may COVID ngayon, no? May pandemic ngayon. Pandemic is not the crisis really. No? Pandemic was the crisis in March, April, May, up to July last year. Okay? But even as COVID has spread all over our country, it has become our new normal. Okay? It has become our new normal. So what is normal nowadays is a COVID situation. So yan ang normal natin ngayon, no? Okay. Ano ang magiging crisis sa new normal na ito? A surge. Yan, no? A new wave. No? Or kapag tumama sa ating organisasyon, no? Pag tumama sa ating universities, campuses, no? Pag tumama sa ating communities, no? At nag-surge sa loob ng mga yan ang bagong crisis ngayon. Hindi na COVID pandemic ang bagong crisis. Nag-normalize na ito. A new crisis would be COVID surging and hitting those areas around us, immediately around us. No? So if your organization is hit by infections, that's the crisis. That the organization exists within a pandemic, that is normal. No? Normal na sa atin ngayon ang mag-travel at yung increases. Pero yung surge, no? Yung direct infection, yan ang magiging hazard natin at baka maging crisis ito. No? And during this crisis, no? Yung biglang surge, no? O kaya biglang surge tapos may tumamang earthquake, may tumamang typhoon or another hazard, no? Na tinatawag nga nating pandemic plus. No? Napakahalaga ng tinatawag nating crisis communications. No? Not only for our organizations, not only for our groups, but for the communities around us. No? News media has a significant long-term impact on public perception and organizational reputation. No? And we must engage that media as early as possible through crisis communication systems in order to protect reputations that may have been built over a number of years. No? Reputations that have been built over a number of years may be deterred by the conduct of just an hour, according to a Japanese proverb. No? And people later on, no, they will, of course, they will remember COVID years, no, but they will remember how we handled COVID rather than COVID itself, no? Okay. When the time comes, no, people remember how a crisis was handled longer than the details of the crisis itself, and so long-term damage on organization is done before and after the crisis rather than during the crisis itself. That's how we handle the crisis that defines us. No? Either it destroys us, or it strengthens us, or it defines us. No? And when we do proactive crisis communications, we minimize damage. We improve the morale of our people, our employees, our friends, our colleagues. No? And we encourage healing faster, no? And better. No? And that is why when a crisis occurs, a proactive, a quick, and detailed communication will be critical. No? And having a plan will definitely help. No? The emergency communication plan will document the protocol for distributing information during time of intense difficulty or danger. Why? Because if a business reputation is at stake, it is important to impart information to the public to ease their concerns, no? To address their apprehensions, and more importantly, to counter rumor, to counter fake news, to counter false information. No? And this is how it will go. No? This is how an organization, a group, or let's say BSU, or your communications group yourself, no, yourselves, or a business, no, or a cooperative, no, or a company, no. This is how they should go in conducting crisis communications. No, first they should anticipate the crisis. They should have a trained crisis communications team, identifying training spokespersons. They should have a crisis communications plan, establish notification systems, monitor traditional and social media, identify and know their stakeholders, develop holding statements, finalize and adopt key messages, and perform a post-crisis assessment. Now remember, the crisis now is not the pandemic, it's a surge in the pandemic, no? It's an internal attack of the pandemic in the organization, no? Or it is a new hazard that occurs during the pandemic, no? A pandemic plus condition, no? That is the crisis that we are talking about here. Not the pandemic itself, but a worsening of it, a critical stage of it, no? A heightening of it. Yun, no? Let's take this singly, no? The first step, anticipating the crisis, no? Anticipating the crisis means, no, predicting what crisis will come. And that's a very tricky question. That's a very tricky issue. For example, many are saying that we could not have predicted COVID-19. No? We could not have predicted COVID-19. Is that true? No? Is that true? Nobody anticipated COVID-19. Nobody anticipated a pandemic. No? And thus, the whole world was unprepared. Was that true?
No, sir.
No.
Ang bilis ang sagot ko.
Oh. Bakit, Ma'am Dairen? No, why do you say so? That nobody, it is not true that nobody could have predicted the pandemic.
For one, sir, it's not entirely a new virus. It's under the family of SARS.
Yes.
Which means that there is already a history of such, and therefore, had we been more preemptive about these issues, then we could have done something earlier before it actually exploded.
And SARS hit when?
90s? 90s, early 2000. That's actually where it started.
SARS hit 2012. MERS-CoV was earlier, no? Middle East respiratory syndrome, no?
Yeah.
And that's why I have trouble sometimes because MERS-CoV refers to a locality, no? Middle East, no? MERS-CoV was earlier, no? Zika was earlier also, no? Ebola was earlier, no? And so Ebola was 1990s, okay? So in short, history is a record of warnings, as Ma'am Dairen has mentioned already, no? And as early as 2015, no? Miriam Defensor Santiago, that's around a year before her death, no? Miriam Defensor Santiago was already filing a pandemic preparation plan in the Senate as a law. Okay? Because of SARS, because of MERS-CoV, Miriam Defensor planned ahead, no? Submitting a bill for pandemic control in the Senate in 2015. That bill on pandemic preparation is still pending today in the Senate. No? But look at that idea of Miriam, no? She anticipated the crisis, no? Now, what about this kind of of severity? No, this kind of severity. Did anybody anticipate this kind of pandemic severity? In 2019, no, the UK conducted a risk assessment for its national security strategy. It was published in September 2019. No? 2019, September 2019. That was before December saw the first case of the virus, of the new virus. No? That pandemic plan, that risk assessment plan, I mean, of the UK, listed an influenza type pandemic spreading globally as the topmost risk in 2019. No? Number one risk. Meron pa siyang black star dun sa kanilang risk assessment plan. No? Naka-red coded siya sa cell, tapos meron pang black star yung red, meaning very highly probable yung emergence ng influenza type pandemic. And they said that this pandemic will overstrain the death management industries globally. So, armed with this knowledge, armed with this prediction, armed with this anticipation, what did the UK do? What did the UK do? Did they strengthen their healthcare system? Did they prepare PPEs, hospital care, etc.? The answer is no. In fact, they lowered the funding for the NHS, no? The National Health System. They did not prepare enough supplies. They did not prep up their hospitals. No? They did not increase their workforce of nurses and doctors, despite the fact na in-anticipate nila. And that was why in 2020, when the pandemic hit Europe, UK immediately rose to the number one spot, di ba? Kulang na yung pondo, kulang na yung healthcare workers, kulang na yung PPEs, no? Because even if they anticipated the crisis, they did not believe their own study, no? They did not believe their own risk analysis, no? A risk is a possible event measured by the probability of that threat, the vulnerability of us to the threat, and the impact it would have if it occurred. And risk assessment is the process of identifying the risks to an organization, defining the controls in place, and the quantification of these threats para irarank mo siya, no? Ayon sa number one. Nag-risk assessment ka na nga, rinank mo na nga number one yung influenza type pandemic, hindi ka ba umaksyon, no? So, yan ang isang problema natin, no? We knew the risks, we anticipated the risks, we had history as a warning board, but we set it aside, no? The second step in crisis communications is to form a crisis communications team and train the members of the team. Now, this is a diagram of an incident management system for a particular group, organization, or institution. You have the incident commander, and you have three assistants: the safety officer, the public information officer, the liaison officer, and then below you have the operations, planning, logistics, and finance groups. No, so this entire team will handle incidents once they happen. No, the crisis communications team will focus on these two. Okay? The public information officer and the liaison officer. No, and the crisis communications team will be organized around them. No? This is what it will look like. Okay, so you have the CEO, no, the first member of the crisis communications team, actually to be notified, no, the chief executive officer. They are often the first to speak to the public on behalf of the company, but not always, no, not always, no. But since they command respect, they command a certain degree of authority, they may be most of the time the first to speak. And The other members of the crisis communications team will include your public informations officer, your communication liaison, your emergency service liaison, and the legal counsel. The PIO takes charge of the crisis communication strategy, specifically with regard to talking to the media, no? And sometimes they take on the role of spokesperson. No? Then the community liaison handles the interaction with people affected by the emergency. Like, for example, the family members of victims, no? The community of the victims, no? The immediate group, the immediate social universe of those affected by the crisis. No? The emergency services liaison will will coordinate with government agencies, no? Responders. No? So they work closely with police, fire, medical responders during a crisis. No? This kind of liaison is usually the head of the security of the organization, no? Or a high-ranking guard in the organization. Then, of course, you have the legal counsel, no? As advisor, should be contacted immediately for guidance and counsel, although it is not really advisable that he will be the main spokesperson, no? Or the main man, the point person for your crisis communication strategy. No? He should be there only to give advice on the legal repercussions or the legal impact of certain communication strategies, no? And options. So there. What kind of training should they need? No? Well, the determination of triggers. Triggers mean the instances that will put into motion the plan, the crisis communications plan. No? So they should be trained in how to identify certain instances that will signal to them that the crisis communications mechanism should now be placed into effect. No? They should be trained in notification and response procedures, as well as in proper protocols for issuing communications. No? So this is your team, and they should be trained. Okay. The fourth is having the plan itself, no? The crisis communications plan. So kahit meron tayong anticipation, kahit meron tayong crisis communications team, no? Kung wala tayong crisis communications plan, no? Wala ring gagawin yung team, no? So these are the various stages, no? In the crafting of the crisis communications plan, no? First, we review existing plans, if there are, no? And if there are not, we start drafting a new one, carefully placing there the objectives that we intend to accomplish with such a crisis communications plan, no? As well as the scope of the plan and the structure that will be created by it. No? Then we identify the stakeholders, our target audience for our communications, no? The internal and external parties of interest, as well as develop the process for notifying them, no? For communicating with them. No? And then we establish the guidelines for the initial contact, no? For the initial release of information. Then we draft our messages. No? Okay? So take note, no? Wala pang crisis, wala pa yung incident, gumagawa na tayo ng messages. No? We will be drafting already sample holding statements and sample key messages that can be our templates already, no? In the advance of an event. In advance of an event. So huwag tayong gumawa lang ng mga statements kapag may event na, no? Kapag may incident na. Bago pa mangyaring event, meron tayong mga templates, meron tayong mga draft statements, no? Para handa lagi, no? And then we identify in the plan the possible channels of communication, the messaging systems, no? Traditional ba, social media ba, and then we rank them according to the most appropriate ones. Hindi lang yung i-enumerate natin kung ano yung pwede natin gamitin, pero titingnan talaga natin kung ano yung mga gagamitin natin. So i-rank natin yung mga channels na ito. No? And then last, we test the various exercises of the plan. We conduct drills, we design drills para i-test natin yung halimbawa yung statements, para i-test natin halimbawa yung contacting ng partners, no? Para i-test natin yung channels of communication, no? Habang wala pa yung crisis, para kapag meron na yung incident, tuloy-tuloy yung pag-respond through the communications plan. Okay? So, yan. Number 5, no? Fifth step, establish your notification systems, no? Ito yung talagang i-enumerate mo na, i-identify mo na kung ano meron ka, no? Kung ano meron ka. Tapos tignan mo kung ano yung pwede mo pang i-put up, no? Pwede mo pang gawin, no? And then iisipin mo kung alin dito yung pinaka-preferred at pinaka-appropriate at pinaka-accessible para sa inyong purposes, no? So you may have email lists, group distribution lists, you may have conference calls, no? Intranet system sa loob ng organization ninyo, no? You can conduct press conferences, no? Event information lines na tinatawag sa marketing, no? Okay. Then you can have the traditional media sources like print, radio, and TV, and online media sources like the internet, no? And you have your social media sites. Okay, so step number 5, no? And then number 6, habang nagde-develop yung crisis, no? Habang nagde-develop yung event, no? I-monitor mo kung ano yung mga lumalabas na news sa traditional and social media, no? Hindi ka pa nag-i-issue, no, ng key message mo. Meron ka na sigurong holding statement, pero kailangan mo ring malaman kung ano yung mga sinasabi ng iba, no? Ng sinasabi ng ibang tao, no? Ano na ba ang lumalabas sa news, no? Ano yung developments ng public perception ng issue, no? So you monitor traditional media like newspapers, radio, TV coverages, no, about the incident that is developing, no? And you also monitor the social media about the comments of people, the interpretations of people, so that you will know how to tweak your prepared responses, no? So that you will know how to adjust your prepared responses para matugunan mo yung concerns na lumalabas sa traditional and social media na minomonitor mo. Okay? And then, number 7, identify and know those who will be interested and those who have stakes or interests in your organization, no? In your group, like employees and their families, investors, customers, vendors and suppliers, outsourced operations, no? Insurers, community leaders and local authorities, governing bodies and regulators, labor organizations, competitors, media, and industry bloggers, no? It would also help if you can categorize these stakeholders, no? Kasi syempre magiging iba yung approach mo sa stakeholders na to depende sa pagtingin nila sa iyong organization, no? Like for example, no? Kapag titignan mo yung mga stakeholders na yon, pwede mo silang actually i-categorize into 3 major groups, no? Yung mga advocates na tinatawag, yung mga ambivalents, at yung mga adversaries dapat ito, no? Hindi advocates, no? The adversaries would be the third group, no? Okay. Sino yung mga advocates? These are people, these are stakeholders that are loyal to and supportive of your organization, no? And they trust your guidance, no? So how would you communicate with them, no? How would you communicate with them? So you maintain and enhance loyalty and support, and you engage your advocates to spread your organization's prevention messages and take action when appropriate. Okay? Hindi ko mo supporters mo na sila, pababayaan mo na. Anyway, supporter ko yung mga yan, no? Hindi, no? Kunin mo yung kanilang dedicated action in support of your intentions, no? In support of your responses, no? And you can use your advocates even to enhance your messaging system, no? To spread your positive messaging system, no? Ngayon, itong mga ambivalents, sino sila? Ito yung mga nasa gitna, no? They neither strongly support nor oppose your organization, no? They're waiting for what you will say, no? And they're waiting to pounce on the mistakes that you make. Okay, so what would be our communicative stance or communicative position vis-a-vis the ambivalence? So first, we identify their specific needs and interests in order that we can engage them, no? Para alam natin kung paano natin kunin yung kanilang suporta, no? Kunin yung kanilang engagement para sa pag-promote ng ating mensahe, no? And we work with spokespersons or organizations na pinagkakatiwalaan ng mga ambivalents na to, no? Okay? Para matanggap nila ng mas positibo yung ating mga messaging, no? Ating mga messages. Okay? Yung pangatlo paki-check, no? Adversaries itong mga to, no? So we have the advocates, the ambivalents, and the adversaries, no? Adversaries, no? Yung makaaway, no? Okay? Ito yung mga talagang mula pa dati ay galit na sa inyo. Yan, no? Are they stakeholders? Yes, because they may be competitors, no? They may be competitors of your organization. They may be other organizations that have an interest in weakening your organization, because the weakening of your organization means the strengthening of theirs, no? Okay? Yung mga kaaway, no? They do not support your organization and they distrust or compete with your goals, no? Yung mga adversaries na to, no? At paano naman yung ating stance, communicative stance, no? Vis-a-vis the adversaries? Well, first we determine if potential adversarial activities could cause harm, no? Or prevent the successful adoption of our health messages, no? To the wider population, no? And respond swiftly, no? Address any predictable challenges by acknowledging and addressing adversaries' concerns. Huwag tayo yung umiiwas, no? Umiiwas. Kasi pag umiwas tayo sa communicative engagement with our adversaries, no? We make them win. We allow them to win, no? They win by default, ika nga, no? So tignan natin kung saan sila manggagaling, tignan natin yung kanilang mga interest para alam din natin kung paano tayo gagawa ng communicative devices para masagot, no? Yung kanilang mga interests and concerns. And well, it would also help if we acknowledge these concerns rather than directly contradict them, rather than directly fight with them, no? We address predictable challenges by acknowledging and addressing their concerns, no? Okay? Para maiwasan yung talagang head-on collisions, no, with these adversaries. And we work with the spokespersons of other organizations or other groups na pinagkakatiwalaan nila, no? So that there can be the establishment or the discovery of common grounds, perhaps, of interest, no? Para mahikayat natin sila na makinig, no? At hopefully maniwala, no, sa ating mensahe. So, after identifying our stakeholders, we group them into, these are very simple groupings actually, no? Advocates, ambivalents, and adversaries, and draft, design our communicative positions and stances depende kung anong grupo sila, no? Okay? Number 8 is developing holding statements. Ano yung tinatawag na holding statements? Ito yung mga preliminary issuances, no? Yung hindi mo pa alam kung ano yung buong pangyayari, no? Nag-iimbestiga ka pa lang. Pero importante kasi sa crisis communications, talagang unahan mo yung mga negative na messaging about your organization, no? Kung may nangyari, no, kung may surge, halimbawa may infection sa inyong workplace, no, halimbawa sa nabanggit ni Professor Dairen kanina na I had been manager of one of the biggest cooperatives here in the city of Baguio, no, the Baguio Benguet Community Credit Cooperative. It's a billionaire cooperative, no, one of the largest, if not the largest, in northern Luzon, no. I was manager there for a very brief period of time while the manager was on maternity leave. So, pumalit ako sandali, no, habang nanganak siya. No? After nanganak, namasyal abroad. So, na-extend ng 1 taon yung aking termino. No? And just last month, no, April, the cooperative was hit by the pandemic, no? Pumasok yung pandemic sa loob ng co-op, no? 5 sa kanila ang positive, 1 sa kanila ang namatay, no? And 3 whole departments were quarantined, no? And alam niyo, ito yung klaseng crisis na pinangangambahan natin at pinaghahandaan natin, no? Yung alam mo na may pandemic, pero yung pinaghahandaan mo talaga yung pumasok yung pandemic sa organisasyon mo, no? And imagine that, no? 5 positives, 1 death, and 3 departments contact traced to be investigated, no, and quarantined, no, para mapigilan yung pagkalat ng infection sa loob, no. And the members were starting to question, alam mo na yung mga iba ding miyembro na very critical sa leadership ng cooperative, expect them to have very severe criticisms, no. Yung iba syempre concerned sila sa kanilang health din, no? The health of the members who are transacting business within the cooperative. And they're waiting for announcements. They're waiting for statements, no? The holding statement is one that is issued habang nangyayari pa tong mga to, nagde-develop pa yung incident, pero kailangan mo nang mag-release, no? To allay fears, no? To soften the blow, kumbaga, no? To arrest apprehensions, no? To assure members na meron kang ginagawa. No? So these are updates and bulletins issued in response to a crisis before all the facts are known, no? An effective holding statement will buy the organization crucial time until it can get the data, no? Until it can better understand what has happened and issue something more detailed. Okay? But holding statements must have the following elements: empathy, no? The ability to feel what the members, what the clients, what the customers, what the patients are feeling, no? The ability to put themselves in the shoes of the stakeholders, no? It must have an expression of an action that is being done already, no? As well as a statement of reassurance, no? Okay? For these people, no? Examples of certain things that it had done in the past, no, to address crises like that, no? Some details, although not all the details, and then a promise of an update, no. Now here is an example of a holding statement, no. Okay. We are deeply saddened to confirm that 2 of our colleagues were tested positive for SARS-CoV-2 at our office in Baguio City earlier this morning. Yeah, no. They are both currently in isolation and receiving medical treatment. We are in contact with their families and are doing everything we can to support them at this crucial time, at this difficult time. As this has happened, the source of their infection as well as their secondary contacts are not yet known. Okay? So take note, no? There has been initial data already, but the crisis communications team was not yet aware of the full case, no, of the details, no, of what happened. However, contact tracing has been launched and we are cooperating with the relevant authorities. And then here is an example of the time-tested responses of the organization. This is the first time anything like this has happened to us since the pandemic began, and we have always prided ourselves on our excellent safety record. We will be reviewing our procedures and protocols and will put in place recommendations from the authorities to ensure this does not happen again. So there is the assurance, no? There is empathy, there is action, there is example, there is some detail. And the last one is the update. We aim to provide a further update about this incident on our website and social media channels at 2 p.m. Yeah, no? So members, clients, stakeholders will be waiting, no, for that update. Okay? No. That update may be contained in a latter messaging system, no? But these are the key information decisions that the crisis communications team must decide on, no? What to release, no? Will you release all the details, no? That might cause alarm, that might cause members not to patronize you anymore, no? that might cause withdrawals of clients and customers, no? So what to release, when to release it, no? Meaning don't delay, no? Don't dilly-dally, no? What is the most appropriate time to release it, no? How will you release it? What channels will you use in releasing the information, no? Where will you release it? Will it be only to your immediate vicinity, or will you release it to the city, no? To the entire province, or what geographic scope will you adopt for your release, no? And whom will you release it to, no? Only to the authorities, only to your members and clients, but or to everybody, no? To everybody concerned, whether they are their clients, partners, stakeholders, or not. Okay? And of course, at the back, why are you doing it? No? Why are you releasing it? No? You must decide on this. Okay? Generally, what do people want to know? They want to know what happened. No? Ano nangyari? No? Okay? Although they may not have, or they may not receive the whole details, at least they have a fairly good idea of the occurrence, no? Of the incident. No? Then, where did it happen? Is it only to this branch, or is it also to the other branches? No. Where is the location? No? Where is the geographic boundaries of this outburst, of this infection? No. Okay. What actions were taken and will be taken in response? No. And how will we get info about the victims? No, I'm concerned. No, my brother went there yesterday to transact business. No, my mother went there yesterday to ask for certain clarifications about a transaction or business. No, how will we get the info that will assure us that our relatives or friends, no, our colleagues are safe? Okay, so this generally are what people want to know, and we must address these concerns, no, swiftly, clearly, and decisively. No, prioritize communications that will end the problem fast, no, that will limit, control, and end the problem fast. So craft your communication in such a way that you answer questions and avoid any lingering ones, no, and avoid any progression towards speculation or fake news, which might end up being more disastrous than the event itself. No, you manage the survivors and the victims' families, no, and those who have been affected in less severe ways. No, inform and support your employees, inform those directly affected, no, and inform the public via the media, no, traditional and social media. And then, these are the key messages that will come after the holding message. Di ba kanina nag-release tayo ng holding message, no? But the holding message will have its purpose of immediately addressing the concern, although it will not have the entire message itself or the core message itself, no? The key message are more detailed than the holding statements, no? Di ba kanina na there will be an update at 2 p.m. Yung ganon, no? At our usual media channels, no? At 2 p.m. you release now your key messages. Okay, this will be more complete, more detailed, no, more direct, more focused, no, than the holding statements that you released earlier. No? So the crisis communications team must continue developing the crisis-specific messages required for any given situation, no, and you might need to develop specific key messages for particular stakeholders. Okay? And the crisis communications team must be on top of this, no? Hindi yung generic one message for all na statement, no? Because some of your stakeholders may be requiring more specific and more focused pieces of information, no? And you must be ready for this, no? The key messages will not be your cookie cutter messages. Yung, alam niyo yung cookie cutter na pag ginanyan mo dun sa dough, pare-pareho na ng size, pare-pareho na ng shape. Hindi ganon, no? So there will not be a single template for the key message. No? It will be different for every group of stakeholders, no? Who will be requiring and asking perhaps different and differently focused areas of inquiry. No? So examples, no? You have a primary message, no, that you issue to the general public. You may have messages for the employees. You may have messages for employees at higher risk for the severe disease, no? Okay. You may have messages for the workers who are sick, no? So take note of the first groups, no? Makikita natin na iba-ibang grupo na, no? Yung ina-address natin. Iba-ibang message din. Malamang yung laman, no, ng mga key messages na ito, no? We continue. Messages related to case investigation and contact tracing, no? Return to work messages for employees with COVID-19 na naka-recover na, no? Prevention practices at work messages or prevention practices outside of work messages, no? As well as messages to managers, supervisors, and other leaders within the organization. So take note, no? Yung key messages natin, mas detalyado, pero mas focus din, no? Mas focus sa ibang mga grupo, no? Okay? So this will now complete or to a certain extent, this will now place a greater reassurance, no? Because of the wider array of information that is provided for different types of stakeholders, no? So yun ang number 9, no? And then the last step, no, will be of course we call this post-crisis analysis and evaluation, di ba? But we should always remember the 7 cardinal rules of crisis communication embedded in all these previous steps, no? Rule 1, we plan, no? We don't act when the crisis happens. We start acting even before the crisis emerges, no? We assess the risks, we prepare for the eventuality. Rule 2, we partner with communities, we partner with stakeholders, we partner with interested groups, no? We partner with the public, we partner with the media, no? Rule 3, we listen to the public's concerns. We listen to their fears. We listen to their apprehensions, no? We listen to their questions, no? Okay. Listening to apprehensions, fears, may mean empathizing with them, no? Okay. Not really listening to their voices that are explicitly raised, but feeling them, no? Feeling their concerns, no? Anticipating these concerns, no? So listening means more than simply using our ears, no? But letting our whole organization feel what our partners, what the community, what the media, what our stakeholders are concerned with, no? Rule 4 is honesty. Okay? Do not lie, no? Do not issue speculative statements, no? Do not issue false statements, no? Even if you know that a statement out there which you did not issue is false, no? Do not counter that, do not answer that with another false statement. No? Be frank, be honest, and be open. Okay? That's a cardinal rule. No? Rule 5 is establish your credibility, no? So that people will believe you. Work with other credible groups, no? Partner with other credible organizations, no? So that your own credibility will be enhanced. No? Rule 6 is meet the needs of the media also. The media can be a very powerful ally, or it can be the worst of enemies, no? Okay, for your organization. So meet the needs of the media, partner with them. And rule 7, be compassionate, no? Speak clearly with compassion and empathy, no? Do not be arrogant, no? Do not be arrogant, no? Do not release false assurances, no? Okay? Like, bukas mawawala na yan, no? Okay? O di kaya hindi ano to, hindi specific concern ito, no? Do not give false assurances, no? Okay? Be compassionate, tell them the truth, be empathetic. Okay? These are the 7 cardinal rules of crisis communications, no? Don't mislead, no? Don't mislead your audience, no? Okay? Do not paint for them rosy images of the future when the future is not yet as rosy as we might expect. No? Otherwise, we destroy our reputations that way. No? These are basic principles, no, which we will contrast later on to what we will call common sense principles. No? First is openness and accessibility, which we already discussed a while ago. Truthfulness and honesty, transparency, trust, and empathy, responsiveness and engagement, supportiveness, and reflectiveness of our organizational culture. So whenever we communicate, we follow these principles. No? These principles are often behind us. No? And of course, the common sense principles. First, acknowledge that there is a crisis. Do not hide it. No? Do not cover it up. No? And then address your people first. No? Not your assets, no, not your equipment, no, not even your data, no. Okay? When a crisis hits, put people first, no. Okay? Save people first, no. Decide on key messages. Take responsibility. Do not put the blame on other people, no. Do not throw blame around, no. Take responsibility and deliver solutions from the top. Okay? Should we make promises? If you do make promises, deliver on it. Okay? Assure people that you're doing everything, declare an objective, and accomplish that objective. If you make a promise, deliver on it. No? Do not make a promise and forget about it. No? Work on it and deliver it fast and concretely. Okay? When dealing with the media, it's okay to state this. No? What we know is honesty. No? Honesty. What we don't know is, it's okay to say that. No? It's okay to tell media the things that you don't yet know, but are working very hard to complete your knowledge of it, to investigate it. No? We're trying to find out, sabihin mo. No? We don't know that yet, but we're trying to find out. But what we know is, yan. No? It's okay to tell this. No? It's okay to tell this. If that is really what is happening, if you are not yet really in full grasp of all the things that happen. No? The mistakes that that we should avoid include this: not responding quickly enough, no? Or timidity. No? Don't be shy, no? In dealing with the media. No? Face up, compose yourself, answer confidently. No? Do not become hostile or defensive. No? Do not antagonize those who are asking questions. Do not fight with them. Do not debate with them. No? Okay? Do not guess or speculate. No? Better say, what we don't know is that we're still trying to find that out. No? Don't say, well, it might be the case that. Don't do that. No? Be frank, be honest. Tell them what you know and tell them what you don't know. Okay? Then don't stick to a story if the facts have changed. No? Para lang nakasubo ka na, sabihin mo siguro, no? Wala na eh, nasabi natin ito kahapon eh, kailangan panindigan natin. Huwag, no? Kung nagbago yung facts, kung nagbago yung sitwasyon, don't be ashamed to change your narrative, no? According to the principles of honesty and transparency. Yan, no? Ganito yung kahapon, pero may mga bagong circumstances na lumabas, kaya ganito na yung malamang na nangyari, pero inaalam pa natin yung buo. No? Don't allow rumors to circulate, okay? Unchecked. Counter rumors immediately. No? Don't cover up and place blame. Take responsibility. No? And choose your spokespersons well. No? Okay? Do not let your organizations choose spokespersons that will, talk differently, no? Yung iba-iba yung sinasabi, no? This is called mixed messaging, which happens when there are too many spokespersons, no? Maya-maya hindi na nagko-konsonante yung kanilang mga announcements, no? And avoid making no comment and off the record statements because this strikes questions, more questions, no? Pag nagtanong sila no comment, aba, no? Merong iimbestigahang mas malalim pa, no? Or off the record, huwag kang mag-off the record because everything will be on the record eventually, no? Lalabas din yan on the record. So avoid no comment and off the record statements. If you don't know it yet, be frank. We're still trying to find out. We don't know that yet. Ganun. Okay? And lastly, never ever lie. No? Never ever tell a dishonest statement. Okay? Yan, no? And then number 10, perform a post-crisis assessment. Basic question to ask, what did we learn from this? No? What did we learn from all this? Okay? Ano yung pwede nating gamitin to grow, to improve as an organization? No? Your post-crisis assessment will include a formal analysis of what was done right. Meaning it has to be written down, no? It has to be documented. Hindi lang discussion, no? Hindi lang brainstorming. Dapat nakasulat yung formally yung learnings, yung lessons, no? From how you responded to the crisis, no? What was done wrong? What was done right? No? What could be done better next time? How to improve various elements of crisis preparedness, no? So once you have documented this, once you have written this down, then go back to your crisis communications plan, no? And try to adjust and tweak your crisis communications plan. No? The key to success, be first, be right, be credible. No? There are certain elements necessary for credibility, and this includes accuracy of information and the speed of the release of this information. No? This leads to credibility. Okay? There are also certain things that are key to developing the trust of your stakeholders. Empathy and openness are two of them. No? And credibility and trust will be your keys to successful communication. Once you have accomplished this, no? Establish your credibility and earn the trust of your audience. Then and only then will crisis communications be successful for your group and company. No? Okay, this is only the things. This includes only the things that you can check. No, if your crisis communication system is already complete. No, a way of alerting the spokesperson, confirming the facts, clarifying and verifying information, preparing the summary statement, the fact sheet, the briefing schedule, the follow-up on information received, and an evaluation and tweaking the process as necessary. No? So these are taken from the previous slides. No? But make sure that as you prepare yourselves to face the media, for example, as you prepare yourselves to give your key messages, as you prepare yourselves to address your stakeholders, check if you have this. Okay? Has the spokesperson been alerted for certain developments? No? Have your facts been confirmed? Have you verified and clarified technical information? Is your summary statement, your holding statement ready? Do you have a fact sheet with you so that when they ask questions, you have them on hand? No? You have them ready at hand. No? Is your briefing schedule organized, arranged, and communicated para alam nila na nakaschedule talaga yung paglabas mo ng issues, ng statements? No? Did you follow up on information received? No? And did you use the information that you have taken above to evaluate and tweak the process before you face your stakeholders? So before you issue those communications, check nyo muna kung meron ng mga to, no? Para hindi tayo nabibitin pagharap natin sa kanila. para handa tayo pagharap natin sa kanila. Para nandyan yung fact sheet, nandyan yung information sheet, verified, clarified, everything, para handa tayo. No? At yung talagang sasabihin natin hindi natin alam, ay yung talagang hindi natin alam pa sa kasalukuyan, no? Sa panahon na yon. Okay? Now, what is SMEM? No? Social Media Emergency Management. Okay, question, no? Okay. Do I still have time? I have some 20 minutes left, no, before we have the. I was given 2 hours, no, until 11 o'clock, no, for this, no. It's 10:36 time check, so I have around 20 minutes more to finish the talk, no.
Yes, sir, but no worries. Okay lang po.
Okay, so yun. Pwede po naman tayo siguro tayong mag-overtime for the question and answer if need be, no? So, konting oras lang po, no?
Yes po.
Okay. Sanay kasi ako sa sa 3-day o 2-day na training eh. Kaya tinanggal ko na lahat dito yung mga workshops, no, yung mga worksheets natin, no. Although sa talagang training on crisis comms, meron talaga.
We hope we can do that soon, sir, kapag medyo okay na tayo. Opo.
Follow up tayo. Okay, so
Yes.
Social Media Emergency Management, no? Question. Do we need to incorporate social media within our crisis communications plans, no? Offhand, pak. Okay, no? Walang sumasagot. So, tingnan natin, no? Traditional media includes the radio, no, the TV, the printed, no, newspapers, magazines, no. These are called printed broadcast media, no. Okay. These are one way in nature, no. So yung communication niya galing sa source papunta sa reader, viewer, listener, no. Okay. The source of information talks to the audience, no, to the receiver. He talks at the receiver, no? Okay. So one way talaga, no? And is a way of sharing information from one source to the receiver. So information is shared via a one-way channel, no? Broadcast, no? Social media, on the other hand, no, is a conversation, no? It's a conversation. Hindi siya one way. May sumasagot, may nagko-comment, may nagla-like, may nag-angry, no? May tumatawa, no? Okay? So iba-ibang emoticons used to express certain reactions, no, to a certain message, no? Two or more way, no? So there may be several, no, participating in that conversation, no, through social media. It's interactive, in short, no? Okay? It's interactive, and you can maintain that interaction for as long as you have time. Okay? And unlike traditional media, social media is a 24-hour channel. At kung minsan, we stay up late until the wee hours of the night because may nagko-comment pa rin, no? May nagla-like pa rin, no? At kailangan nating sumagot, no? At kinaumagahan, paggising natin, no, we find that so much interaction has taken place already, no? So many comments have been placed there already. So many reactions have been registered already, no? So social media doesn't stop, no? It doesn't have any weekends. It doesn't have any sleep hours, no? It goes on and on and on and on, okay? Unlike traditional media. Okay. There are certain fun facts, no? Okay. Did you know that there are 7.8 billion people on Earth as of March 2020 to, no? So baka ngayon malapit na tayo sa 8 billion, no? Okay. Ngayong 2021. But as of March 2020, there are 7.8 billion people on Earth. More than half of them, 4.88 billion, use a mobile phone, of which 3.8 billion are smartphones. Okay. This is the fun fact. Only 4.2 billion people use a toothbrush. Okay. More people, therefore, on Earth use mobile phones than toothbrushes. Okay. mas marami ang nagmo-mobile phone kaysa doon sa mga may toothbrush, no? Magamit ng toothbrush. Fun fact, okay? So the mobile phone and smartphones are, nagka-problema dito sa Baguio nung nag-institute sila ng protocols for going out and going in, no? So, travel protocols, no? So sabi nila, yung mga lalabas na taga Baguio na may intensyong bumalik dito sa kanilang tahanan sa loob ng Baguio, kailangang mag-register online. Sabi nila, no? Most ng mga tao dito sa Baguio na nangangalakal, hindi sila gumagamit ng smartphone. May mobile phone sila, no? May mobile phone sila, pero hindi smartphone yung karamihan, no? Problema na doon sa mga nagnenegosyo, no? Kasi yung mga nagnenegosyo dito, mga vegetable farmers, etc., hindi naman sila mas smartphone eh. Ang interesado lang nila kung may buyer, no? Kasi kung may buyer ng patatas, saka pa lang nila huhukayin yung patatas. Okay? O kaya kung tumaas ang presyo ng patatas, kung mababa yung presyo ng patatas sa merkado, halimbawa, no? Anong presyo ng patatas diyan ngayon sa sa Manila, sa Quezon? Anong presyo ng patatas diyan sa ngayon? Sasabihin nila, i-text nila 'yon, no? Hindi nila kailangan ng smartphone. I-text lang nila 'yon, no? Pag mababa yung presyo, hindi mo na nila huhukayin yung patatas, doon muna yung patatas sa ilalim ng lupa, no? Pero pag tumaas yung presyo ng patatas, huhukay yan, harvest yan, no? Kasi samantala yun yung mataas na presyo. So, kailangan mo ba ng smartphone diyan? Hindi. Mobile phone lang, no? Okay? Text and call. Okay? Pero nung nag-require na sila ng online registration sa hdf.baguio.gov.ph, no? For the travel, no? Ayun na yung problema, no? And nagdagsaan sila sa munisipyo, sa City Hall, because there in the City Hall they opened several counters kung saan yung mga walang smartphone ay pwedeng mag-register online, no? The City Hall got swamped, no? By this, no? The good thing is that since then, medyo nagkakaisip na rin itong mga vegetable farmers na to. What do you call this? SM, for example, reported higher sales in smartphones, no? Okay. During the last year, no? So nagsiswitch na rin sila sa smartphones because of these requirements for online, no? Requirements for online registration, no? Can you recall the last time your phone was not within earshot? No? Can you? Okay. A survey was made globally, no, of 18 to 44-year-olds, no, smartphone users, no, and here are the results, no. Okay. Those who had been, away from their phones for 3 hours or more only included around 17% of those surveyed. Okay, so only 17% allowed their phones to be away from them for 3 hours or more. Yan, yung mga medyo matatanda itong mga to, no? Okay. 17%. Pero those who had not held their phones, no, for 2 to 3 hours, 9% lang. Okay? Those who had been away from their home, from their phones for 1 to 2 hours included 19%. Okay. Those who were away from their phones from 30 minutes to 1 hour, 23%. 24% of those surveyed said that their phones were away from them less than 30 minutes in a day. And fully a fourth of those surveyed said that their phones are always with them. They cannot recall the last time when their phones were not close to them. Imagine that, no? So 1/4, 25% of those surveyed never separated themselves from their phones. Hawak-hawak nila, no? What about you, no? Do you recall the last time when your phone was, 1 meter or 2 meters away from you, or laging nakabulsa yan, laging hawak mo yan, no? Kahit nasa jeep ka, no?
Yes, sir.
Hawak mo lagi yan, no?
Mas ninenervyos pa ako, sir, pag pag nawawala yung cellphone, pag di ko makita yung cellphone ko kaysa hindi ko makita yung asawa ko.
Now that is news, no? Mawala na yung asawa mo, huwag lang yung cellphone.
Huwag lang po yung cellphone, ano sir?
Okay.
Correct. Kasi nandun yung ano ko nandun yung bank accounts ko. Kaya hayaan mo na yung husband ko, makikita ko rin siya eventually.
Ma'am Direk, Professor Direk, nandun ang buhay mo.
Tama po yon. Pero in fairness, ang asawa ko naman po ang lagi nakakakita ng telepono ko pag nawawala.
Okay, no? The phones are more in use nowadays than desktops or laptops, no? Okay, so mobile devices, no, are doon tayo mas depende ngayon kaysa sa laptop o sa desktop, no? Kasi lalo na kapag lagi kang nasa labas, no? Tayo sigurong mga nagtratrabaho, no? We use our laptops or desktops for social media, pero kahit meron tayong laptop diyan at may desktop diyan, nasa tabi pa rin natin yung cellphone, no? Yung phone, yung mobile phone, no? At kapag may nag-text, may nag-message, no? May nag-comment, yung cellphone pa rin yung titignan natin kaysa sa laptop o sa desktop, no? So, here is the latest data, no? April 2021. Smartphone usage makes up 80% of social media browsing, even if the laptops are open in front of the users, no? Of Facebook users, 95.1% use a smartphone. Less than 5%, only 4.9% use a laptop or a desktop to open Facebook. No? 86% of Twitter usage is on a mobile device. And 60% of LinkedIn usage is from mobile devices. So we depend more on our phones than on laptops or desktops. No? Here are some social media stats. There are 1 billion unique monthly users on YouTube. 1.06 billion more, no? Billion monthly active users on Facebook. Pinterest has 48.7 million users. Tumblr, 170 million users. Twitter, 500 million total users, no? But this is misleading, no? Because even if Twitter has only 500 million total users, these 500 million total users tweet and retweet earlier tweets, no? So kahit 500 million lang sila, yung circulation ng messages sa Twitter mas malaki kaysa dun sa other social media applications, no? Vimeo, no? I use Vimeo, hindi ako gumagamit ng Vimeo has 12.6 million users. Okay, so repeat the question. Do we need to incorporate social media within our crisis communication plans? Of course.
Yes.
Knowing this data, okay? We need to reach as many people as possible, so we need SMEM. Okay, no? Here are the advantages of social media. It's fast, no? It's fast. It's accessible, no? It has ease of reach, no? And it is interactive. Responsiveness is fast. You have a certain sense of informality, personal touch, and there is a certain level of enhanced authenticity compared to traditional media, which is formal, no? Which is dedicated to a certain level of reader or viewership, no? Okay? But in social media, may pagka-informality at may pagka-authenticity yung mga gumagamit dito, no? Okay? Pwede ka pang gumamit ng mga terminologies and words that are restricted in traditional media, that are censored and edited out in traditional media. But these are also the disadvantages, no, of social media. First, you can only type so much, no, in social media, unlike traditional media where you can discuss your views, no, in lengthy column pieces, no, where you can write a certain number of lines, no, limited only by your editorial restrictions, no. But in social media, how long can your post be, no? Very, very few yung mga posts na talagang na-discuss na thoroughly, no? Yung mga issues ng isang concept, no? So limited space. Second, speed din. Speed is a two-edged sword, no? If the spread of information is fast, the spread of rumor, the spread of fake news, the spread of debilitating announcements, no? The speed of harmful communications, I mean, no, is also unlimited, no? Mabilis din yan, no? So kung mabilis yung spread ng good info, mabilis din yung speed ng negative info, no? You have very low control over the content of social media. Wala kang editorial control, wala kang censorship control, wala kang control sa comments, wala kang control dun sa mga pwede nilang sabihin, interpretations, etc. No? Pwede mong i-report yung content, pwede mong i-report yung account, no? Pero more often than not, no, hinahayaan natin 'yan, no? Hinahayaan natin 'yan, no? May mga rules ang Facebook kapag nag-post ka halimbawa ng mga picture ng mga batang naliligo sa ilog. Nako, nawawarningan ka ng Facebook, no, for possible child pornography. Yan, no? Kapag nag-post ka ng picture tungkol sa mga gwardiya, no, makakakuha ka ng warning, no, tungkol sa possible violent content. So, mga ganon, no? Pero mas matindi yung control sa traditional media kaysa sa social media, no? And here is the great con, no, the great disadvantage of social media, no? You have a huge potential lack of journalistic integrity because anybody can post, no? Okay, anybody can comment, no? Anybody can give his or her own idea, no? Okay. What about those who are not connected? Sasabihin natin siguro, huwag tayong magtiwala masyado sa social media kasi maraming mga hindi connected. So, kahit mag-social media tayo, paano nila malalaman yung pinost natin, hindi naman connected ang iba, no? Ganun, no? But at any rate, no, social media is not the only way of getting information, no? It's an additional way. So, gamitin pa rin natin, no? Kasi dagdag mechanism din yan, dagdag channel din yan, no? Some people may not be connected to social media, but they listen to traditional media who get much of their info from social media din, no? Okay? So para makakarating din sa kanila, no? Through a relay process, no? Okay? And those who have family or loved ones, no, have people who are unconnected but with whom they share emergency information directly. So kahit hindi sila connected, most of them have family or loved ones or friends or colleagues who are connected, no? And who share with them the emergency information. Okay, so okay pa rin, no? Okay pa rin. Gamitin ang social media kahit may mga tao na hindi connected. Okay? Ito yung pinakamatindi, no, sa social media kasi, no? According to Abraham Lincoln, don't believe everything you read on the internet just because there is a picture with a quote next to it. Yan, no? So, dahil nandyan si Abraham Lincoln, maniwala na tayo na sinabi niya yan, no? Nagkalat yung mga ganyan, no? You have Queen Elizabeth, for example, endorsing this kind of person, no? You have celebrities endorsing this kind of products, no? Yun pala, ginawa lang yun, no? Halimbawa ito, no? Ginawa lang to, maniniwala kayo na sinabi yan ni Abraham Lincoln wala pa namang internet nung panahon.
Correct.
So, would you believe Abraham Lincoln quoting about the internet, no? So, yan ang isang problema, no? How to control fake news, no? How to control rumor on social media. But if we can only do that, no? If we can only have the way to fight it, no? To control it, to limit it, no? And to counter it, then social media can be a very, very powerful tool for crisis communications, no? Ito yung lagi kong ina-advise doon sa mga colleagues ko na ngayon lang nag-a-adjust sa social media, no? I am to tell you the truth, I am 57 years old, no? I was retired. I retired from teaching in 2016. meron akong mga colleagues sa cooperatives, sa micro, small and medium enterprises, no, in certain businesses, ka-age ko or older than me but not by much, no, na noong pre-pandemic period talagang ini-encourage na kami to use, no, to go to social media, no, to use these gadgets, no. Pero we didn't see the need.
Sir, nawala yata ang inyong audio.
Ay, nawala po. Wait po okay na po o hindi pa?
Okay po dito.
Okay na yan. Okay, sige. So, I will resume my share. Yan. No? So, you're listening na po? Okay? Clear na po?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, now, this, I was saying na meron akong mga ka-age, no? 57, 58, 59, mga hindi nagkakalayos dun sa age na yan, na retirees na din, but who are in cooperatives, in small, medium, micro businesses, no? At noong pre-pandemic, ine-encourage, pinupush na kami na pumunta sa social media, no? Okay. Pero we didn't see the need for it, no? Pwede pa naman yung face-to-face no? Pwede pa naman mag-conference, makipag-meeting face-to-face, no? Pero nung pumasok yung pandemic, no? Dito natin nakita yung urgency ng migration from traditional businesses, traditional conferences, traditional research meetings into media, no? So, ito yung lagi kong sinasabi sa kanila ngayon, no? Na tayong mga matatanda, sabi ko, no? Hindi tayo magsusurvive dito sa panahon na to na very easy para sa mga bata, no? Pero kailangan nating mag-adjust, kailangan nating mag-migrate. We have to learn, no? We have to use social media ourselves. We have to educate our senior executives. We have to listen from practitioners, and we have to explore the latest trends, no? Kasi whether we like it or not, kung mawawala man itong pandemic o mag-ease up man itong pandemic, do you think we will return to the old style? No, hindi, no? This pandemic has pushed us to a new level of marketing, to a new level of business, to a new level of coordinating with people that we may find difficult to detach from kahit matapos yung pandemic, no? Dito na yung tungo natin, no? So we learn, okay? And then we prioritize our objectives through social media, improve customer engagement through social media, enhance brands management, accelerate customer-driven innovation, attract talented employees, and increase sales through social media, no? We establish governance through social media, no? Teleconferences, no? Zoom meetings, no? Ito na yung pupuntahan natin ngayon. At kahit wala na itong pandemic, hindi na tayo babalik sa dati na laging face-to-face. No? We can make meetings, conferences faster and more efficient through social media. No? Identify opportunities, understand risks, etc. No? Through defining activities, through prioritizing objectives, and through establishing governance in social media, we will be able now to develop our capabilities further. No? Ito yung tinatawag nating development strategies on social media. No? And when we have developed these, then we can engage our customers, our colleagues, our patients, no? The outside community better. No? We can listen to them through social media. We can engage in conversation with them through social media. No? We can measure, we can set relevant measure.
Hello, sir? Parang nawala po kayo ulit.
Oo, Neng, nawala si Sir.
Oo, mukhang
Hindi,
mukhang
baka yung bandwidth kasi hindi niya na-i-close. Sabi niya
oo
ipo-post
nga,
na
hindi niya
kanina.
na-i-close ang kanyang camera. Oo. Okay. So while we're waiting, siguro po I would like to remind everyone na lang po to prepare your questions. Napakaganda po at extensive ng ating pinag-usapan ngayon. So kung it's our opportunity po to clarify kung meron po tayong mga concerns, lalo na po na tayo ay direktang nagdi-deal sa ating pong mga stakeholders. Ano po, marami po sa mga kasama natin dito ay guro. Meron din po tayong nagpapasalamat po kami sa inyong pagsuporta sa webinar na ito. At syempre po yung ating pong mga kasamahan sa local government, nandito rin po sila, may mga representatives. Meron din po tayong mga graduates na po natin na sa ngayon po ay nandun na rin po sila sa field. Meron po tayong galing sa BSP, meron po tayo sa, if I'm not mistaken, ay meron din po tayo dito from PNP. At sino pa po ba ang hindi ko na, meron din po tayo from, I think Rotary, nakita ko po ang ma'am kanina. And of course, sa local government units na atin. PRC Nasugbu is also here. Salamat po ng marami sa inyo pong pagsuporta. Yun po, ihanda po natin ang ating pong mga tanong. Habang I think ay sinusubukan ni Sir Andaya na bumalik ulit. Mukhang nagka-problema nga siya. Hi, Ma'am Beatrice. Kumusta po?
Okay naman po, ma'am.
Hello po. Ma'am, are you still...
Naka-attend ako nito. Very informative.
Salamat po. Ma'am, nasa LGU Kalatagan pa rin po kayo?
Yes po, ma'am.
Alright. Ako, salamat po sa suporta, madam. Thank you po.
Ma'am
Dailin, TMO rin po, umaten.
Oo.
Sino po?
Traffic Management Office po, doon umaten din po.
Yes, ma'am, Ate Ate Majo, salamat ng marami sa Traffic Management Office ng Nasugbu. Salamat po sa inyong suporta. Sana po ay naging malaking tulong ang ating pong topic ngayon. Ano na po kaya nangyari kay Sir Andaya? Baka po naubusan na nga yata siya ng kanyang ng kanyang bandwidth. Nako, brown out.
Brown out sa Baguio po.
Buti nilang patapos na.
Opo.
Buti nilang
patapos na. Okay, saglit po at sasagutin ko lamang po ang email po ng Sir Andaya. Meantime po, MCs, please take over.
Nako, yun lang pala mahirap pag ganitong seminar ng internet.
Opo, Sir Ate Majo, talaga naman pong ang brownout is real.
Yes,
Sige po. Ito po, baka sa mobile data na po kumonek ang sir.
Yan po mga ma'am and sir. In the meantime po, i-ready po natin yung mga questions na gusto po nating tanungin kay Sir Joe po.
Yes, and we are reminding everyone po na kung hindi nyo po gusto na i-open ang mic and audio, is pwede nyo naman pong gamitin ang chat box natin so that your questions can be accommodated by our guest speaker. Thank you.
Yun po, and provided po ang certificate after po nitong webinar natin. May fill upan lang po kayong mga link para po makuha nyo yung mga certificate. Kaya huwag nyo pong kalimutang puntahan at mag-fill up po ng certificate na ipoprovide po namin. Thank you po.
May brown out dito sa amin. Hello?
Hi, sir.
Hi, sir. Opo.
Sir, nakita
Welcome
Hello,
back.
Sir Adrian.
Tumilim po yung paligid nyo kanina, sir. Sabi ko, ay mukhang brown out si sir.
Oh. Brown out, ang dilim. Anyway, I have only a couple or 4 slides left. Okay, so I think we can continue even without looking at the slides, you know?
Yes, sir. It's okay.
Can we?
Yes po, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir. You may po.
Yes po. Yes, sir. You may go. You may
Can we do so even
Yes,
without
sir.
the slides?
Yes, sir. Please proceed, sir.
Okay, so yun. Pagtiisan mo na lang muna tong madilim kong mukha. I'm using my mobile phone kasi brown out. Nag-brown out na unannounced ito eh. Okay, so
Ayun. So some tips on using okay lang, no? Can you read me? Can you listen to me? Can you hear me?
Yes po,
Yes
sir.
po, sir,
Yes
yes.
po. Loud and
Yes,
clear.
sir. Audible po
Okay.
kayo.
Yan. So some tips na lang, no? So one tip is stay within your established platforms, no? What I mean to say is decide in advance which platforms are best suited for your organization, whether Facebook, no, or ayun, meron palang backup nga palang binigay, no? So that's the slide, Adrian, yung yung some tips. Yan, no, some tips. So stick to those channels when responding to a crisis, because during a crisis is not the time to build an audience, no, or to establish a presence, no. Your fan base and your follower base, you start with that already, no. Hindi sila makaka-migrate kaagad sa bagong channel kapag gumawa ka pa ng bagong channel during the crisis, no. Then prioritize both your messages and your channels, no? Concentrate on those that will get you the most reach and media coverage, no. Note, Twitter should rank high on that list due to its unlimited reach and how quickly tweets are retweeted and spread, no. So mark Twitter, no, mabilis kumalat ang tweets, okay. Then include your employees in the plan, okay. Seek out the staff that next slide, Adrian, no? Next slide. Seek out the staff who are more familiar with social media and train them in the roles that they will undertake during an emergency, no. Encourage also the employees to familiarize themselves with your organization's Twitter account, Facebook pages, no. Ang only limitation lang naman nito, huwag silang mag-Facebook kapag oras ng trabaho, no. Yun lang naman, no. Pero kapag tag nito, break time o kaya lunch break, etc., no, allow them, no, to use social media, and especially during emergencies or during crisis, okay. During an emergency, your employees can help push your messaging out to the public. But very important, no, let your employees know ahead of time. Isali nyo sila sa plano. Okay? So in summary, last na to, no? Any credible organization, no, should have a tried and tested crisis communications plan. Okay, yan ang importante. If you don't have one, start drafting one, no? And start working on a social media component to add to your current crisis communications emergency response plans. Harness the power of social media, no? Double-edged sword yan, pero mas maganda, mas malaki yung maitutulong niya kapag nalimitahan natin yung kanyang negative aspects, no? And if you learn the rules and understand the tools, you can use social media to your great benefit. Yan, no? So that is what we have been discussing so far, no? And then if we go to the second to the last slide, ano na nga ba yung crisis na sinabi natin kanina, no? Okay. Nawala rin yung sharing ni Adrian yata. Okay. So crisis, as we defined it a while ago, is a critical event which, if not handled in an appropriate manner, may dramatically impact an organization's profitability, reputation, or ability to operate, no? But you know what? I like the medical definition better. Okay, I like the medical definition. It's like this, no? A crisis refers to the turning point of the disease, for better or worse, especially a sudden change, usually for the better, in the course of an acute disease. So that's the medical definition. So a crisis refers to a turning point, no, yung pagbuti na, no, ng kalagayan ng isang pasyente. Okay? And in crisis communications, with good crisis communications management, we could do just that and give unqualified support to our pandemic heroes, no? So that is where my talk ends. No, I'm sorry we had to undergo this kind of a crisis. Although yung backup natin meron naman, hindi lang i-share yung ano.
Nagka-crisis din, sir. Nagka-crisis din po,
Crisis din tayo.
nawala po ang internet connection ng aming technical staff na may hawak ng
Ganun din.
support po.
Nangyayari
Opo.
yan, nangyayari yan.
Correct.
At least,
Live po live.
So, at least we have backups and we have methods to adjust to the situation. So thank you very much for the opportunity you gave me to share what I know about crisis communications. No, if there are any questions, I would be very, very glad to answer them.
Ayan.
Thank you po.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Joseph Andaya, for that fruitful and very informative presentation po and talk. Ayun nga, sa term nga po naming mga Gen Z, Sir Jopo lang sa kalam. Ayan. Palakpakan po natin si Sir Jopo, mga kasama. Ayan. Thank you so much po, Sir Jopo. Di ba, partner? Ang sarap ipagmalaki, ang sarap ipagyabang na, ay, umattend ako sa webinar na kasama si Sir Jopo. Ayan. Mapapa-hashtag ka na lang talaga na Sir Jopo lang sa kalam. Ayan.
Thank you.
Regardless of barriers.
Heart react. Para po doon. Yan. And now, we will proceed to the open forum part of our program.
So once again, yung mga gusto pong magtanong, pwede nyo pong i-turn on yung camera or audio and microphone, or otherwise you can use the chat box so that ma-accommodate po ni Sir Jopo yung mga katanungan nyo. So go lang po. Huwag niyo pong sayangan yung opportunity since si Sir Jopo is medyo malayo pa yung pinanggalingan, and actually isa po tong fruitful na webinar para sa ating lahat. And this is the time, this is the opportunity po for us to gain more knowledge by questioning Sir Jopo about the webinar na po.
Actually, partner, meron na tayong question. No? Kanina habang nagtotalk si Sir Jopo meron nang nag-send sa atin ng question. Ito po, Sir Jopo, from Ma'am Matbel de la Vega, teacher and guidance counselor po siya. Madami na po sa mga kasamahan namin sa teaching force ang nawala dahil sa pandemic. Kahit wala pa man pong face-to-face, do you think it is safe for both the students and the teachers to go traditional style of teaching for the next 2 years? Then ano po, sir, ang maipapayo nyo sa akin or sa amin na caught between dedication and security? Ayan po ang question ni Ma'am Maribel de la Vega, sir.
Very interesting question, Ma'am De La Peña. De La Peña.
De la Vega po, sir.
De La Vega, no? Very interesting question, ma'am, no? Because actually it is not only you who are concerned with these kinds of things. No, your question is you are caught between safety and commitment. No? And apparently we equate commitment with going to the classroom and meeting the students face to face, because that is where we let's accept it. The classroom is where we teach best. Okay, that is where we are in excellent condition, no, face to face with the students. No, there are difficulties in Google Classroom or in electronic classrooms, virtual classrooms, even if we have strong internet connections. Tanggapin natin yan. Kahit maganda yung ating internet connection, kahit maganda yung transmission ng modules, no, online, mas maganda pa rin yung nasa classroom tayo, because that's our forte, that's our territory. That's our territory. The question of ma'am is, would it be safe to do so? Okay. Now, my answer to that is this, no? There is no substitute for face-to-face teaching. Okay? Because the classroom is designed to accomplish two things. No? The class is designed to accomplish two things. First, learning, academic learning, and second, socialization. No? Socialization. Okay? Now, we cannot accomplish socialization fully in online or virtual classrooms or distance learning. Okay? How can we therefore accomplish both? By returning to the classroom safely. No? Some countries are already doing that. No? Okay? By observing, by instituting certain mechanisms that protect students and faculty through physical distancing, through safe entry protocols at the gate, no? Through health protocols within the campus, no? And maximizing safety of both the teacher and the student when they go home to their own families. Okay? Sa travel pa lang, we can by instituting fetch schemes, yung buses, no? Na sa halip na mag-public commute yung mga estudyante at mga teachers, sinusundo sila ng mga school buses, no? Okay? Para safe yung travel. Pagpasok pa lang sa institution, meron ng mga safety protocols, no? Sanitation, no? Sanitizing, temperature checking, etc., no? Okay? Sa loob mismo ng classroom, interaction will be controlled, no? Kaya lang yung mga ibang schools kasi, ang gusto nila i-maximize kasi yung number of students per classroom at yun ang magiging defeating sa ating schema, no? Yung 50 student per classroom or more, dapat baguhin yung sistemang yan, no? I-reduce sa kalahati, kaya ng restrictions sa mga hotels and restaurant na 50% capacity. Kung makaya ng mga institutions ito, pwede natin ma-maximize yung ano, no? Yung classroom learning. So, in response to Ma'am De La Vega, okay, I agree. No? I myself want to go back to the traditional classroom, no? And augment it only electronically to distance learning. But before we do so, let us first put in place the institutional mechanisms to protect both the kids and the teachers. No? So yun po yung ating sagot dyan.
Ayan, thank you po Sir Jopo. Sana po Ma'am De La Vega is nasagot po ni Sir Jopo yung inyo pong tanong. Next question po.
Okay.
Partner?
Next question po is from Sir Jonas Villeza. So, hi sir, what is your thoughts regarding vicarious rehearsal, especially COVID-19 crisis? So, does this kind of rehearsal really work on the part of the audiences, and why or why not?
Anong rehearsal yung tinutukoy ni sir?
Regarding yung rehearsal po daw, this vicarious rehearsal, especially this COVID-19 pandemic po daw, kung yung kind ng rehearsal po ba na yun is really work on the part of the audiences po, and why and why not?
Okay. Are you referring to the drills, to the exercises?
Ano po, yung para pong vicarious rehearsal po. Vicarious rehearsal po.
Parang?
Vicarious rehearsal po, yung para pong isineset mo na yung sarili mo na parang hindi mo pa nararanasan yung crisis, pero nagpre-prepare ka na po.
Hindi yata ako familiar sa rehearsals na yan. Pero kung the rehearsals are meant to, you know, to familiarize us with protocols and mechanisms, no? Then it will definitely help, no? As long as we take these rehearsals seriously, and if these rehearsals are done in certain areas that also ensure our safety and our health, no? Rehearsals are always good when we use them to properly attune ourselves and to properly place ourselves into semblances or simulations of conditions, such that when we go or enter into these conditions themselves, alam na natin. Parang nagse-set in na yung ating training, yung ating naaral sa rehearsal, kapag nandun na tayo sa actual situation. So, parang drill and exercises din yan, no? Bakit pa tayo nagdi-drill? Bakit ba tayo nag-exercise? Kapag actual na crisis na, hindi naman masusunod yan. Hindi pong gano'n, no? Pero masusunod, actually. Repetitions of drills, repetitions of exercises, rehearsals, actually put us in a condition of preparedness, no? Basta sa rehearsal mismo, nasusunod yung safety and health protocols din, no? It wouldn't do if the rehearsal itself exposes us to risks of the disease, no? So, ayun, no? So, but if conditions of safety and health are ensured during the rehearsals, no? Then palagay ko magiging magandang practice din yan, magiging magandang preparation din yan sa kung ano man ang mangyari later. Okay?
Thank you, sir. And I know naman na nasagot niyo na po yung tanong ni Sir Jonas. So, For the next question po is magmumula po to kay Sir Robert Marel de la Vega. So, Sir Robert, you can fit to ask po our guest speaker.
Hi, Sir
The
Joe
floor is
po.
yours.
Magandang umaga po.
Magandang umaga po.
Sir, my question is this. Sir, di ba social media is a go-to medium, lalo na po ngayon when it comes on crisis or emergency action and awareness. Should we
Opo.
utilize it more, sir, even the nature of social media is public node rather than two-way? Hindi po ba na more na mas maraming nakakaalam, mas mag-impose ng crisis like what happened to Angel Oxin?
What is the exact question po? Merong danger na yung social media
Na the
mag-exacerbate
more
ng crisis.
Yes, sir. Being public node po ang social media, mas maraming nakakaalam when it comes on information and mga bagay po about crisis and awareness. So, hindi po ba sir na mas maraming nakakaalam, mas may chance na mas mag-impose ng crisis kung marami pong
Yun ang isang
participant, for
danger talaga
example?
po, no? Ang isang danger talaga ng social media, yung speed, no? Nabanggit natin kanina na speed is a double-edged sword, no, for social media. On one hand, speed will enable us to get our messages across more accessibly and more efficiently. But on the other hand, speed will also enhance the capability of negative communications, negative messages to spread, no? Yun talaga yung risk na haharapin natin diyan, no? But we cannot discount kasi the impacts and the effect of social media in our desire, in our objective of spreading certain news that will help people, no? That will communicate to people our desire to help, no? Now, if there are certain negative consequences of this use of social media, then we should also learn how to counteract this news, how to answer these negative publicities with our own brand of honest, credible, and fact-based scientific messaging, no? So ayun talaga, rather than simply let the other side win by default, no? Na hindi tayo gagamit ng social media kasi nga baka ganyan ang mangyari, no? So yun ang risk din kasi, no? And we do not really have a choice in the matter, no? Social media is here no matter what we think of it, no matter the perspectives that we have of it, and we must learn how to use it to spread what we think will be positive, and at the same time counter or answer or correct whatever negative publicity or negative messaging is being spread through it, no? And I think the choice is very clear in that matter, no? We have a responsibility not only to reach out to people and help them cope through our capabilities, no? But we have also a responsibility not to let negative messaging spread, no? So if speed is a double-edged sword, then we must be able to use that double-edged sword to our advantage, no? Spread developmental messaging and counteract negative messaging, no? We must not use only one of these, no? At the same time that we are using social media to promote responsible messaging, at the same time that we do that, we should also be using social media to counteract and to answer defeatist or negative usage of that social media to spread damaging reports or damaging communications. Okay? So, ganun po yung view ko dyan, no?
Thank you, sir. Thank you for answering my question. May mga napulot po akong mga quotes sa inyo, sir. Spread developmental messaging, then counteract negative messaging. Thank you, sir. Thank you po.
Yes. Thank you po, Sir Jopo. And our next question po is from our Assistant Professor Dairenti De Luna, ma'am.
Thank you, Adrian. Sir, I think this is the last question dahil in as much as we wanted to accommodate many questions, we are limited by time. Pero sir, ang question ko lang is I think related sa ating mga participants na nandito. As you have mentioned po in the speech, in the
parang nawala.
hello po. Narinig niyo ako, sir? Hello? Naririnig na kaya ako ni Sir? Sir Jopo, can you hear me?
Mukhang nagka-problema po ulit.
Alright. Oo, nagka-problema ulit. Siguro, baka lobat naman si Sir.
Direct,
yes, ma'am.
we can ask a copy of the presentation from Sir.
Yes, ma'am. Apo, marami po sa participants natin are asking for a copy of the PowerPoint. I will ask po the permission of Sir Jopo and I think he will be willing to share with you all yung kanya pong slides. So once po umokay siya, nasa amin po ang inyong mga email addresses, then we will send it po together with your certificate. Basta po mag-fill up muna po kayo nung form natin, yung assessment form po natin. Yun po kasi ang ating attendance for today. I think ang ating pong mga organizers ay nakapag-send na sa chat box. Paki-click lamang po nun, paki-answer po ang ating form and then po we will be able to send to you your certificate of participation as well as po yung PowerPoint presentation kapag ito po ay inaprubahan ng ipamigay ni Sir Jopo. Apo? So, yes, nakabalik na kaya ang sir? Wala pa din.
Nakakatuwa naman ang ating mga participants. May kababayan pala ako dito taga-Balayan.
Opo, may taga-Balayan po. Kaway-kaway naman sa mga taga-Balayan.
Hello po.
Kaway-kaway po sa mga taga-Balayan dyan. Maraming salamat po for joining us. At syempre, yung ating pong mga kasamahan sa, ulitin ko po, dito sa Nasugbu, napakadami din po. Umabot din po tayo sa Kalatagan, kay Ma'am Dastas, kay Ma'am Beatriz.
Oo nga, ang layo.
Opo, head po ng MSWDO sa Kalatagan. Kaya napakaraming salamat, ma'am. Thank you po for joining us. Opo, hindi ko lang po alam. Ano po?
Bumalik na po si Sir Jopo.
Ayan, Sir Jopo, welcome back. Opo, welcome back po. Sir Jopo, can you hear me na po? Last question na po ito, sir.
Naka-mute po si Sir Jopo.
Sir Jopo, naka-mute kayo. Paki-unmute po. Ayan, sir, tatanungin ko na po ang aking question. Ang tanong ko po sir, kasi you mentioned sa ating pong webinar today that definitely crisis communication should be institutionalized, meaning it is something that is initiated by the local government unit or yung opisina or kung sino man po na head ng isang institution. However, sir, as many of us here are also doing our responsibilities on a personal level, ano po kaya ang practical tips po na pwede nyong ibigay sa mga teachers, sa mga kapulisan natin, sa ating mga traffic management units, sa ating po mga government employees in their personal capacity? Ano po kaya ang mga practical advice that you can give for us to practice crisis communication?
Okay, ayun, no? So many of us, of course, desire very avidly to assure people, no, to help people know things that are happening, no? At meron yung sarili nating tulak, no? Na ibahagi kung ano man yung ating mga nalalaman para makatulong din sa pag-ease ng kanilang mga apprehensions, takot, no, para ma-inform din sila, no. But as individuals, no, let us really be very careful of this, no. Why? Because even if we desire, if we need to talk as individuals, we are connected to certain institutions, no. We work for certain institutions, and people might take our individual comments, our individual messages to be the official messages of our institutions, no? Of the organizations we are connected with, no? So my tip is this, no? Whenever we wish to extend certain messages of information, advice, reassurance, empathy, etc., let us always make sure that we coordinate with our institutional organizations as to what we can say or cannot say. No? Otherwise, even if we have this caveat thing, no, na what we are saying is not the official messaging of the institution, our audiences will initially have that perception na dahil tayo ay teacher ni Batangas State University, dahil tayo ay connected ni LGU, no, at empleyado ng ganitong klaseng kumpanya, yung sinasabi natin ay galing sa kumpanya, galing sa BSU, galing sa LGU, etc. No? So let us always be very, very careful to preface our statements with disclaimers, no? With disclaimers that yung sinasabi natin ay personal opinion natin, and if ever we need to convey something from our institutions, let us coordinate with them, ask their permissions, no, and make sure that our messages jibe or they are in consonance with the key messages also of our institution, so that we will not bind them, so that we will not also affect the reputations and the messaging that they are currently getting out. So ganun po yung aking practical tip and advice.
Salamat ng marami. Alam niyo po, sa tingin ko you are correct in that statement. Ano po, whether we like it or not, we are the ambassadors of our organizations.
Yes.
So we have
That's
to
a
be
very
very
good word.
careful also, and we have, as you said, we have to be in connection with what is the core message that our organization would like to say about something. So salamat ng marami. Isang request na lang po. Marami po sa participants natin sa nagre-request if they can have a copy of your PowerPoint presentation. I'm publicly asking your approval if you are willing to share with them yung PowerPoint presentation po.
I have no intellectual property rights to these things, ma'am, because I am an advocate of resilience. I am an advocate of crisis communications propagation. You may share to them the PowerPoint presentation if it is not too big, or you can convert it to PDF so that
Yes,
it will be more manageable. Kasi pag kinonvert mo sa PDF, wala yung mga chung 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 chung, wala yung mga
Yes, and it will be easier to transfer.
Oh.
Pero salamat po sa approval, sir. That
Yes,
is what
ma'am.
we are
Yeah.
waiting. Thank you so much. Back to our MC.
No
Salamat
problem,
po,
ma'am.
sir.
Ayan, thank you so much po. Sana po nasagot po ni Sir Joe po ang inyong mga katanungan. And now, guys, we will now proceed to the awarding of the certificates.
Yes. And again po, yung pinapaalala lang po namin in order for us to give your certificate of participations, again, pakikifill up na lang po nung evaluation form na binigay na po namin ulit yung link na nasa chat or comment section po natin. Thank you.
Batangas State University ARASOF-Nasugbu College of Arts and Sciences Bachelor of Arts in Communication, Communication Art Society. This certificate of recognition is hereby presented, of course, to Mr. Joseph Porfirio L. Andaya in recognition of his distinguished and invaluable service rendered as guest of honor and speaker during the online seminar of Batangas State University ARASOF-Nasugbu Communication Art Society with the theme Helping Heroes in Times of Pandemic, a webinar series on communicating effectively during a health crisis, thereby contributing immeasurably to the prestige and success of the occasion. Given this day, May 7, year 2021. Ayan po, sir. This is only a template po, sir. Ibibigay po namin sa inyo ang mga ang original copy po nito via email po. And sa mga participants po natin, gaya nga po ng sinabi po namin kanina, kung gusto niyo pong makuha ang inyong certificate is kailangan niyo pong fill upan yung aming link at form na ibibigay po sa inyo via email. Ayun po.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
Thank you, Ma'am Luisa.
You're welcome,
Madam
sir.
Luisa, thank you po.
Pakalaman po natin si Sir Joe po.
Yes. Isang virtual clap naman dyan para kay Sir Joko. So, partner, kamusta?
Ayun, partner, talagang ang daming binigay ni Sir Jopo ng mga knowledge at information na talagang makakatulong sa atin ngayon. Na parang akala kasi natin parang limited yung pwede natin gawin. Well, in fact, ang dami pala natin kayang gawin gaya nga ng sinabi ni Sir Jopo. Ayun, part.
True. And sobrang dami nating na-realize dito sa webinar, especially dun sa part na in-explain ni Sir yung consumability natin ngayon sa social media na kung saan almost 95.1% is Facebook user na. So imaginein mo kung gaano siya tumaas during the normal and up to this pandemic. So imaginein mo yung nagiging kilos natin every time na mag-browse tayo in social media, hindi natin nare-realize na gano'n na pala kalaki yung oras na nako-consume niya. So in that point, so iyon yung isa sa indication kung ano ba kung bakit kailangan natin bigyang address yung mga ganitong issues, especially these days that we are na pandemic. And isa pa, social media is siya yung platform na kung saan doon natin nakikita yung mga news, hindi natin sure minsan kung fake ba to. Actually, marami akong nakikita sa mga Facebook friends ko na nakakapag-share sila accidentally ng mga news na fake na hindi nila na-check yung fact kung saan ba to nagmula. Hindi sila marunong mag-check ng source. So in this webinar, actually, isa sana itong pribilehiyo para sana sa mga participants natin na sa susunod na makita tayo ng mga news, especially regarding to COVID-19, pandemic, and other relevant issues, ugaliin natin palagi ang mag-fact check dahil doon is isa sa pinaka-importante na bahagi at aspeto ng buhay natin is marunong tayo umunawa or mag-distinguish ng fake news sa totoong news. Kasi especially part ng development ng community natin is yung true information. And information is what makes or what pushes our community to be transparent and to foster transparency and for the betterment of the country. So yon, dapat palagi tayong aware na yung pag-share pa lang natin ng mga news is dapat relevant, true, and yun. Always check the source for that matter.
Yeah, partner Parang gaya nga na lagi natin sinasabi na matagal nang nauso tong term na to is think before you click. Always think before you click. Para naman hindi tayo mabash. Di ba? Ang dami-daming bashers dyan. Ang dami-daming kritisismo na parang magkamali lang tayo ng share. Kaya guys, always fact check. Para po alam natin share natin o hindi o mali. So partner, yun nga din ang na-realize ko dito sa webinar natin is that wag tayong matakot sa mga changes na mangyayari. Gaya ng sinabi ni Sir Jopo is kailangan nating mag-adapt. Kailangan nating laging mag-adapt. Huwag tayong matakot sa changes, lumabas tayo sa comfort zone natin kasi nga hindi natin alam kung babalik pa ba tayo. Kung babalik or babalik pa ba tayo sa new normal, ay sa dati, sa nakasanayan natin o mananatili tayo dito sa new normal na limitado lahat. So yun guys. Now to wrap our event for today, we would like to call on our Assistant Professor Rosalie R. Rojales for the closing remarks. Ma'am.
Magandang tanghali po sa ating lahat. Okay pa po kayo?
Okay pa, Ma'am Sally.
Okay po, Ma'am.
Yan. Talaga pong hindi ka inip-inip. Kahit po hanggang hapon, willing kami, Sir Chopo, na makinig at kumuha ng marami pang kaalaman tungkol sa crisis communication. So at this point po, in behalf of Batangas State University, ARASOF-Nasugbu campus, we would like to thank first our resource speaker for this webinar, Sir Jopo. So for your extensive discussion on crisis communication. So na-realize po namin na talagang hindi lang yung disaster plan ang kailangan pong ma-input sa aming university as well as siguro po sa iba't ibang organization ay naging eye-opener po ito na kailangan po talagang ang administration natin ay maging part po ng maging plan natin annually. And siguro po ay mabigyan din ng proper budget regarding this para po sa implementation. So sa tulong po ng sa amin pong part, sa tulong po ni Dr. Valdez, as sa ICS command system, ma'am, baka po ma-input natin po ito. So hopefully po malagyan po natin ng corresponding budget. Po.
Opo.
So sa atin pong mga participants for taking time, at saka po napaka-positive lagi ng response ninyo sa aming panawagan. So para po ma-reach out namin kayo at ganoon din po ay magkaroon tayo ng more linkages, maging avenue po itong webinar na ito. So meaning to say, hindi po tayo mag-end sa webinar na ito, but we are seeking forward or more collaboration pa po with you. Kasi po ang nais po ng pamantasan ay kami po ay magkaroon tayo lagi o magkadaupang palad lagi sa mga activities na kung saan mapapalago natin ang bawat isa. So ang community po ay gusto namin laging mayakap para po magkaroon po tayo ng mas pag-unlad. So kung ano po ang maaaring maitulong ng pamantasan sa pamamagitan po ng aming mga extension services, wag po kayong mag-atubili na kami po ay itap o kami po ay inyong tawagan or kung sa ano pong paraan na ma-reach nyo po kami, ay inaasahan po namin na mas matutuwa pa din po kami kasi po ito ay umpisa, kagaya nga po nitong sa crisis communication plan. We are looking forward na maging part pa uli po namin na maging part pa rin po ng university as well as the municipalities within the province of Batangas. Lalawakan na po natin, hindi na lang po pang Nasugbu para po mas marami po tayong ma-reach out. So gusto po namin din na lahat po ng LGU within the first district, kung magkakaroon po kami ng mas comprehensive na activity at siguro po naman hindi tayo tatanggihan ni Sir Jopo kasi nga po kanina sabi niya it takes 3 days ang itong ganitong klase ng na kinumpress lang natin within 2 hours. Siguro po sa banda-banda riyan ay amin po uling uusapin at kukuhanin ng expertise ni Sir Jopo para po mas maging lahat po ng bahagi ng community kahit po sa barangay level up to kung saan pong level tayo yun po ay magkakaroon na tayo ng direction, patas na po na level, and then mag-focus po tayo dito kasi dapat ma-realize kahit ng isang ordinaryong mamamayan na may part po ang bawat isa para po itong mga crisis nating kinakaharap ay atin pong mapagtagumpayan. Ano po? So, ganun din po ang faculty and staff ng CAS. Ako po ay nagpapasalamat sa supportive na BA-Com students. Siguro po ay hindi matatapos ang aking mga pasasalamat kasi po tayo ay nagkakaisa sa pag-extend ng services ng university. So marami pa pong engagement ang gusto nating maihatid, maipaabot sa mga taga-communities. So marami pong salamat sa mga participants. So paulit-ulit po namin siguro kayo. Marami po kaming mga naka-line up na mga livelihood programs para po sa ibang colleges. So sana po ay magsama-sama tayo at maisulong po natin ang pag-unlad ng Batangas State University, ganun din po ng ating mga institusyon na kinabibilangan. So marami pong salamat sa lahat.
Thank you rin po.
Thank you, Ma'am
Ma'am
Rosalie, sa
Thank you, ma'am.
sobrang gandang closing remark. So, Sa lahat po ng mga teachers, faculties, and especially po sa iyo po, Sir Joe po, and also to our participants and frontliners na nandito, thank you very much po for attending this webinar. And to wrap up po, that concludes our short but meaningful webinar. So we hope that you learned a lot, and the knowledge that we have learned today is magamit po natin siya in fighting COVID-19.
Hello po, pasingit na lang. Baka po pwede tayong mag-photo op. Ating mga MCs, request natin ng camera, open camera ng ating participants para tayo po ay merong picture, remembrance.
Tapos hingi rin ako ng kopya ng group picture, mama.
Open cam po tayo para po sa
Okay, sir. Opo.
Thank you.
Pwede ko po bang mai-request ang open camera ng lahat po? At tayo po ay, sino ang kukuha ng picture, mga anak? Yung ating nasa technical team, sino ang kukuha ng picture? Okay? Sino ba? Adrian, paki ano na lang, or Sir Robert, Sir RM?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, kayo na po mag-queue kung ngingiti na kami.
Okay po.
open cam na po tayo, guys. Open cam na po,
Bali tatlong beses po gawa, 3 pages po ang ating gallery.
Okay.
Ma'am. So,
Sige
okay
po.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay po. Wait lang po. 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay po, and para po sa last gallery, and 1, 2, 3. Okay na po, ma'am.
Salamat, sir. Thank you.
Salamat. Thank you.
Yan po.
Ma'am Dairen, pahingi ng kopya po, ah.
Sure,
Sir
sir.
Joe po,
Opo.
sa uulitin.
Ulitin. Thank you.
Thank you very much po
Thank
to
you.
our resource speaker.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
And that concludes our meaningful webinar. May the knowledge and information you gain today will help you on fight with the COVID-19 virus. That would be all. Once again, I am Adrian Arroyo.
And I am Jerlyn Joy Cabali. Your masters of ceremony are now signing off. Until next time.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Salamat
you.
po sa ating
Salamat po.
participants.
Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
po,
po sa
Sir
inyong
Joe
lahat.
po.
Thank you very much
Stay
po.
safe.
Sa inyo
Thank
lahat.
you po.
Stay safe always. Stay
Thank you
safe.
po. Thank you po.
Thank you po.
Thank you po.
God bless po and stay safe.
Thank you po.
Salamat po.
Thank you po.
Yung iyak eh.
Ma'am Sale, salamat po ng
Yes
madami.
po. Salamat din po,
marami.
Doc Valdez.
Ma'am
Yes po,
Valdez,
Puso
thank
pong
you
halaman.
po. Thank
Mga
you po.
blandita.
Ma'am Dastas, Ma'am Beatrice, salamat po.
Ako po, Ma'am Diluna and Ma'am Rojales, thank you very much, and hoping for the next webinar or whatever plan po ninyo, please invite me.
Ay,
Ma'am,
salamat
Ma'am
ma'am.
Betty.
Thank you po.
Ma'am Betty,
Yes
meron
po.
po akong pinaplan tungkol po naman sa food waste. Ang target ko po sana ay mga daycare workers.
Okay po, sige po ma'am. Mag-send lang po kayo sa amin ng invitation or
Apo.
any communication at para ma-inform ko pong aking mga daycare workers. Actually,
Apo,
I
susunod.
32 daycare workers.
Sige ma'am. Tapos po ay ang sunod po doon ay meal planning for kasi nga po kailangan ng mga nanay ng ng inyong mga estudyante sa daycare. Preparation po natin pagka tayo po ay nag face to face, ma-meet po natin ang mga
Yes ma'am, very meaningful po yan. Okay po.
Opo,
So,
ng
hintayin
mother's
ko
classes. Po.
hintayin ko ng Sally yung inyong communication regarding that. Ano po?
Opo, thank you very much
Para
po.
po ma-inform ko yung mga daycare workers. Ano po?
Thank you ma'am. Thank you po.
Okay po.
Hopefully ma'am, bago po mag-end itong May or mid ng June. Yun po ang target date
Okay
po.
po ma'am. Thank you very much po.
Thank you po.
Salamat po sa mga kasama natin sa taga-ibang munisipyo po, mga taga-Balayan, mga taga-Tuwi, parang meron yatang taga-Tuwi, mga taga syempre sa Kalatagan, yes. Sa Nasugbu, syempre po sa ating pong iba't ibang opisina, BFP nandito po kanina ang Traffic Management Office. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. Thank you po.
Thank you po.
Sa CAS Student Council.
Siyempre,
Thank you very much.
Salamat siyempre sa ating Communication Art Society.
Yes.
Cars lang ang sakalam. Tama ba yun? Cars ang sakalam. Okay? Thank you so much, kids. Ang galing. Wala akong masabi. Thank you so much. Sir RM, Sir Jonas, saludo po ako sa inyo. Salamat po na madami.
Katuwa naman yung dalawa.
Apo, si Sir, siyempre yung ating MC, si Jerlyn, tsaka si Adrian, salamat ng marami. And all the people, ma'am, behind the preparation for this. Yung ating pong audiovisual, yung pong ginamit natin ng mga video kanina na presentation that was done by our Mamalakaya team, if I'm not mistaken, Mamalakaya Production. And then, syempre, yung ating pong nag-prepare ng mga design, lahat po na nagtrabaho. Pati, ma'am, yung aming pong ginamit na invocation and national anthem, tuwa ako kasi it has been related so much to crisis to the pandemic. So, maraming salamat po.
Thank you din. Thank you very much.
Apa. Salamat po. Enjoy your lunch. Wala po kami pa-lunch.
See you later.
Oo, ma'am. See you later po. Bye
Thank
po.
you,
Salamat
Doc
po.
Valdez.
Salamat po.
Ma'am, ang ating coordinator, si Ma'am Lerma.
Oo nga pala, Ma'am Lerma.
Thank you very much po, Ma'am
Oo
Lerma.
nga pala. Thank you, Ma'am Lerma. Sa faculty po ng CAS na nandito. Salamat
Nandiyan ka
din.
po ang Ma'am Chin?
Parang nagpaalam sa akin.
Si Lerms narito kanina.
Si Ma'am Lerma po. Opo. So, salamat po ng madami. Hindi ko na po maisa-isa at ako'y ninenervyos. Char. Kasi, natetensyon ako kasi katatapos lang ng event. Pero yun po, salamat po ng marami sa ating lahat. Paalam po, i-end ko na po ang call.
Okay po. Thank you very much
Thank
po
you.
to all of you.
Thank you po,
Thank you,
Ma'am.
bless you.
Thank you po. Salamat, ma'am. Thank you po.
Okay po.